everyone. I know I'm running a few minutes late. Welcome to LOCKBEARD Phenomena number 143. Yowies are possible. Yes. Let's check the chat, shall we? I know I was running a few minutes late. See, Icon was here. He says, Wowie, Zowie, it's a Wowie. Yep. What the actual fuck? Yep. See, JoJo's here, UK representing. Yeah, you guys missed out last night. I had to go late, because it's just it's getting too hot to do this early in the day. I'm doing it today, but probably in the future we'll be doing it 2 hours later because I can't do it in the library, and people will be like, shut the hell up and looking at me strange. So it just wouldn't work out. I have to do it out in the van. Can't do it in McDonald's. It's just not feasible to do it in those places where I can go to use the internet, but I can't do a live stream in those locations in the AC. But welcome, JoJo. Welcome, Grasshopper. It's about for smoke. Better not be kissing on me. I'm dangerous. Yeah. Dangerous relative. Ocean Pond's here. Welcome. Angel. Welcome. Kiz. The UK's in house tonight. Sleeping Beauty says, sweet intro. Thank you. And welcome. Timmy Boy's here. Anyone that wasn't here last night, Timmy Boy made a small contribution to the live stream last night. And it looked a little bit, oh, come on. Looked a little bit like this. Oops. And I lost it. Well, never mind. Anyway, that sunflower was racist. I accidentally X'd out of it. It sucks when you got too many tabs open. Anyway, it was a funny clip. You watched last night's live stream. Welcome, Timmy Boy. Raptor, welcome. JoJo says I watched it today, low lock. Yeah. Still, my throat's giving me hell, so might have some more, fits of coughing. I'll try to mute. Just like there's something stuck right there. I assume it's trying to come up, Hasn't been as bad today, but still. So I kind of mentioned, why I decided to do the Yowie thing, talk about the Yowie last night, but I'll repeat because a lot of people weren't here. Pat is making the assertion that he doesn't believe that there can be that he doesn't he didn't use the word plausible, but it sounds like he feels like it's not. He feels like it's implausible that there can be an upright, a hominid, an undiscovered hominid in Australia. I forget the exact wording he did use, but basically that's what it amounts to. He doesn't believe that there can be an undiscovered hominid in Australia. I think that there absolutely can be. And, You know, I'm not saying that there is, but you know, a lot of people have sightings of the Yowie, and a lot of Australia is, you know, not populated very well. It's a vast area. A lot of people think of Australia as a big desert. It's not entirely a desert. It has a lot of desert, but it also has rainforest, you know, and mountains and stuff. So it's, you know, it's got rivers. I mean, that's where the crocodiles live. You know, it's got some squatchy places. It's got some squatchy places. So I'm gonna, you know, I'm going to start with the most scientific stuff, and then we might, you know, throw in a little bit of more woo-ish stuff, because some of, you know, the woo people, some of them some of the things that they think are real may not be that impossible. So you know, the portal thing, you know, there may be some possibilities there. It's just that we haven't discovered any such thing. And, you know, and looking at that, that the plane that disappeared, which we'll talk about later on. If y'all haven't seen this, y'all ain't gonna believe this shit. The videos look legit, and if they are, there's some wild shit going on. So, so I'll start with this. Try not to shut down my tabs. Come on. There we go. Ocean Pond says Pliocene. Hold on, let me get the comment up. Man. Pliocene origins are earlier for the Aussie hairy man. Yeah, I mean, possible. I think he could have. I think that I don't know. We call it Yowie, hominid, Bigfoot, whatever we're going to call it. I don't know. I need to pick a word for it, but Sasquatch. I think Sasquatch is their way to Australia at any point in time, either by accident or on purpose. It could have been 10 years ago, could have been 10,000 years ago, could have been 100,000 years ago. You know, depending how far back Sasquatch diverged from the rest of us, you know, as a race of people, because like I've said many times on here before, I do not think they are a separate species. I think most likely they are the same species as us, and they're just a big hairy race of people. Let me change my layout. Boom, there we go. Much more better, right? Excuse my voice, it's all jacked up. So, you know, we could talk about a lot of different animals that have been transported from one continent to another over time, floating on, you know, mats of vegetation. You know, maybe they got, you know, washed away in a river, washed out to sea, grabbed onto whatever they could find that was floating, a big log or whatever it is. And then, you know, now most such creatures, land-based creatures in that kind of scenario, are going to die, obviously. But a few strong survivors do survive, have survived. We know for a fact they've survived. You know, look at the, you know, if we want to look at Australia specifically, Megalania, the giant monitor lizard that used to be there, that I hope they bring back, because it looks like it was pretty freaking cool. I hope they find some DNA and bring it back. But at any rate, the Komodo dragon is closely related to it. The Komodo dragon is not in Australia, but it somehow got off of Australia. And some people might argue, well, it's a lizard, it can swim a long way. Well, fine. Because again, that's the thing with a lot of these animals. People are going to say, "Well, it's this kind of animal. It's a totally different thing than a primate." Well, fine. Here's primates. We'll stick to primates, shall we? Two primate lineages crossed the Atlantic millions of years ago. Now, you got to keep in mind the Atlantic has been gradually widening over time, so it wasn't quite as distant as it is today, but it's still a long damn way, right? So, new fossil discoveries suggest a second group crossed about 35 million to 32 million years ago. Because, you got to ask, how did the damn monkeys get here anyway? But so this article explains this particular case. 4 fossilized molar teeth excavated in Peru's Amazon basin come from a now extinct lineage of primates that rafted across the Atlantic Ocean from Africa and reached the inland site between around 35 million and 32 million years ago, researchers say. Until now, South American sites had yielded only fossils of primates ancestral to those inhabiting the continent today. Fossils from the same Peruvian site had previously suggested that ancestors of modern South American monkeys crossed the ocean from Africa by around 36 million years ago. The new discovery adds a second group of primate arrivals. The teeth closely resemble those of Parapithecids, a primate family that inhabited northern Africa from roughly 56 million to 23 million years ago, say the paleontologist Eric Seifert of the University of Southern California in Los Angeles and his colleagues. Like ancestors of living South American monkeys, Parapithecids must have made a sea crossing on vegetation mats created by storms, the scientists conclude in the April 10th Science. Favorable ocean currents and a narrower Atlantic Ocean than today because of lower sea levels helped ancient primates float across the ocean. Still, the Atlantic probably was more than 1,500 to 2,000 kilometers wide when crossings occurred, the scientists say. The two primate lines adjusted well to a new continent, traveling from where they landed in South America more than 4,000 kilometers to the inland Peruvian site, the researchers say. Seifert's group suspects both groups competed for resources until Eucalypithecus, the genus name given to the newly reported fossils, eventually died out. So there you have an example of primates that floated across the Atlantic, not because they built a boat, but because they got in a bad situation. Maybe they started with more than they landed with because they started eating each other. Who knows? But somehow they survived. Creatures will survive shit. So there you have it. That should be enough, right? Pointing out the fact that many types of animals, including these primates, have floated all the way across the Atlantic Ocean should settle this. It really should. Mr. Lee's here. Welcome. Everybody getting their highs and hellos to the chat peoples. User User 9234NWFE. What a completely bot-ish name that is. Saying if they can cloak, that didn't happen by evolution. Your comment doesn't make any damn sense in reference to what I'm talking about here. What difference does it make if they could cloak? Now, cloaking is, as best we can tell, is bullshit. It's just bullshit claims that people make because they live in a fantasy land. Yeah, fantasy land. And if you're trying to refute evolutionary biology is a well-proven science. It's real solid. I mean, if you watch my channel and or watch any of my back live streams, there are certain sciences I will go after pretty hard because they got flaws in them. Evolutionary biology is not flawed. It's pretty solid. I know there's some creationists out there who, think they've got some real zingers in there, but their flimsy attempts to discredit evolutionary biology are so mentally retarded that those people should be committed to an institution and not allowed to breed. I mean, I'm sorry. It's ridiculous, some of the bullshit they come up with. It just is. If you want to believe in your God, fine. I don't have a problem with that. But my question is why don't you believe that your God is powerful enough to create evolution? We got proof evolution exists. So if you believe your God created everything, that follows that he created evolution itself. So why you guys want to miss out on that? You change to that narrative, now you're going to sound more legit to people. Because right now, a lot of people know for a fact evolutionary biology is solid science. It just is. And so, yeah, come on, man. But yeah, cloaking has nothing to do with this. Why would they need? Do they need to cloak on the vegetation mat? Are you thinking portals? Maybe you should try using the word portals. I mean, I feel like we're getting trolled here already. Ocean Pond says, talk about your aquatic ape. Well, this particular instance would have occurred long before millions of years before the aquatic ape hypothesis would come into effect. That would have been something that took place with our line somewhere between 6 to 8 million years ago or something like that. That we're not really sure, but and well, and there's some other reasons why that really wouldn't play into this particular thing. The idea that Sasquatch made it to Australia to become the Yowie. Based on the scenario that I think what Sasquatch is, and it, what I think that Sasquatch would have diverged from us well after the aquatic ape adaptations had already happened, and Sasquatch had become, we lost our hair, and then the ones who diverged from us to become Sasquatch regained their hair big time because of entering into a new type of ecological niche, into a new survival scheme, an attempt apparently to hide from others more and more, a more reclusive type of human they became. Whereas we are some of the least reclusive things on the planet. Everywhere we go, we make lots of noise, we leave lots of evidence, we trash the place, we burn it, we kill everything there, and then we move on after we fucked everything up. We have a fucking Woodstock and shit everywhere and puke, and you know what I mean? Humanity went these two different, very drastic directions. Mr. Lee says great white shark has been seen in English waters. Yeah, they can travel far. I mean, there's nothing to stop them from getting there if they want to. Too many people saying it for it to be BS. Yeah, I call that bullshit. I call that bullshit. Find any evidence that's cloaking actually is a real thing. Forget Bigfoot. Is there some other animal that can cloak? I mean, let's. You know what I think is people watch the Predator movie too many times, and it's just like when people watch werewolf movies too. People watch werewolf movies, and suddenly, you know, a new werewolf movie comes out, right? Suddenly, you have a rash of werewolf sightings because people got werewolves on the brain. Some people are just that easily programmed and manipulated, and they see this thing and they enjoyed the movie, and now they want now somewhere in their brain they want werewolves to be real for some stupid reason, even though in every freaking werewolf movie werewolves are kind of a problem. They kind of kill people and stuff. So people will try and come up with excuses why their movie of choice is real. So no, I'm gonna call bullshit on that. A lot of people are just lying. Like, you can't prove to me that anyone making that claim isn't lying, or most people. There might be some, you know, I don't know. You put a lie detector test on everybody, maybe I'll accept it if you get enough of them that pass it. But the ones that pass it could just be people that were completely mistaken, you know, like in the case of Patrick Vaughn, where he claims that this Bigfoot just disappeared right in front of him. And I would say what's probably more likely is that he saw Bigfoot. He went into a moment of shock, and when he came back to, the Bigfoot had hidden in the brush somewhere. And to his perspective, it just vanished. But what really happened is he just blacked out for a second. He was in such shock. My scenario is far more likely than his scenario because we know that kind of stuff happens to people. We do not have any evidence that such a thing as cloaking exists at all in nature, in any creature at all. So how convenient that people want to point to Bigfoot that we can't seem to catch and say, it cloaks. Well, yeah, it's very convenient that you're saying that about something we can't actually capture and verify. You're as bad as hold on, I gotta pull up her video. You are bad as Jessica and her tasty teenage boys.
Look like a tasty teenage boy.
Who she only remote views things that cannot be verified. Because she can't remote view at all, probably. Right? So. User says bioluminescence and infrasound can be put down to evolution. Yes, but, you know, again, this is more people just making claims about Bigfoot that cannot be verified. So, you know, they say, so you're telling me Bigfoot's bioluminescent? I'm not buying it. There's no instance of bioluminescence in any primate. So why should there be in Bigfoot other than people's dreams? They think they saw red eyes or some bullshit like that. And infrasound, again, you know, none of these people can prove that the infrasound, if they can't, most of the time they can't prove they experience infrasound at all. And even if they could prove that, they can't prove it came from Bigfoot. So we can't run with these kind of ideas just because somebody you like told a story you like, and it involved infrasound. Infrasound's probably total bullshit. Let's just be real. You know, apply some Occam's razor. What's the most likely explanation? Right? The most likely explanation is these people are mistaken, or they're fucking liars, or they're crazy. As opposed to, oh, Bigfoot's out there engaged in infrasound, fucking with people. Woo. Okay. It's not that it's outside the realm of possibility. It's just extremely unlikely to an intelligent person that's, you know, reasonable. Most likely, if people are experiencing infrasound, they've encountered a big cat. That's what they've encountered. You know, a mountain lion, or maybe even an African lion or a tiger, something that got loose here that ain't supposed to be here. We know they have. So don't run with that. Don't run with that stuff. Keep it kind of level, and you won't sound crazy to 99% of the people out there. Jojo says waters must be getting warmer. Summers are coming. Could he be Matthew Johnson? Yeah, probably. It could be. Ocean Pond says, what's your approximate timeline for the dawn of Sasquatch? I've been meaning to take some time to try and put some more thought into that. And it'd be hard. It'd be hard. Because we got to analyze, like, how long, you know, okay, one, based on the observations of people that we deem to be pretty reasonable, reasonably good sources, you know, like people like let's say we're 100% certain that Joe saw that Sasquatch, and he was what did he say, 20 to 40 feet away from it or something like that, and it wasn't like just running away, it was standing there staring at him, and like he got a good look at it, right? So let's say that people like that, and there wasn't any woo, there wasn't any mind speak or portals or cloaking or bioluminescence or infrasound or any of that shit. It was just a big hairy dude in the woods. So let's say those kinds of situations, we got enough of those that we feel like that's an accurate description of what these things look like. And then we got to think about how long would it take to evolve to selectively breed to that form from basically our form, because, you know, we've been like this for a while. But again, like the upright body stance and the hooded nose, these things and the foot shape, these things all indicate to me that Sasquatch definitely diverged from us, but sometime after the aquatic ape hypothesis events occurred. And so we're talking between 200,000 years ago to maybe, I don't know, as much as 2 million, perhaps. It really needs a lot more thought behind it, you know, to come up with some kind of reasonable hypothesis for that. And we need information. We need more data, you know. The user says Scott Carpenter, Claudia Ackley, etc. is too improbable. They were lying to their death. Ron Moorhead, Rob Topless, Janice Carter. That made Mr. Lee chuckle, it looks like. Elephants can zap you with infrasound, too. Yeah. So how do we know, like, why, when people experience infrasound in the woods, why do they immediately say Sasquatch instead of an elephant? You know? But in America, you're probably dealing with a mountain lion or something. Brian Cheese here says, hello, everyone watching on TV while relax for the long day of hiking. From the long day of hiking and the last hour in the rain down a mountain. Took a fall, but all good. Chewy at least came back to see if I was okay. Oh, such a good dog. Angel says Chewy's a good boy. Chewy, you're a good boy. Fell down the mountain. Yeah, he fell down the mountain apparently. That's not far at all to be mistaken. 10 yards is nothing, and that's 30 feet. Joe said about 40 feet. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's a real close observation. And if it was standing still, like, look, he said it was standing there looking at him kind of disgusted. He got a good look at it, you know. And what he described looked like a human being, just hairier. So it's very close to us. Very close to us. Took a little fall, GoPro. User says, if cryptids were alien animal hybrids and did have alien abilities, it would be a defense risk telling the public. Oh, crap. Here we go again. Look, a dog and a cat are both from this planet and they can't crossbreed. Why? Because separate species, that's the definition of a separate species. It's something that you can't breed with. Anything that you can't breed with is a different species. Why in the hell would any absolutely brain dead person believe for a second that you could crossbreed with something that's not the same species from you as you, and not just on this planet, but something from a totally different planet? That's absolutely ridiculous. You folks out there talking about alien hybrids of anything, do you understand how abysmally stupid it is to say this? It's absolutely, completely, ridiculously goddamn stupid. You cannot make babies with the millions of other types of animals on the planet. You can only make babies with humans and no other animal on the planet. And yet you want to believe that humans can crossbreed with something that's from a totally different planet. Do you think there's going to be any genetic capability there? I really doubt it. In fact, our physiologies may be completely toxic to one another. There would be no possibility for, no ability to provide a proper environment to gestate a baby that was half DNA from another planet. It wouldn't work. Either way, it's absolutely such a goddamn ridiculous comment. You've got to be a troll. Is this Pat? Pat's here trolling us. This has got to be troll. That's the alien hybrid. Anything alien hybrid is absolutely ridiculously stupid. You got to understand that. Ocean Pond says, "Man, best buddy. Good on you for drawing, Jen, for drawing it the best you could for him. Good stuff. Yeah." Brian, speaking of Joe, when are you and Mike Steve heading out in June? Just finished the work. I think I'm about to get a storm up in here. Took him to see actual drawing. He was so happy. Yeah, welcome to the chat, Deborah. At the encounter. Read about Deborah's encounter. Ocean Pond says, no credence in DNA results for man, X unknown hominid. You would not be able to crossbreed with something that's not the same species as you. You know, this is why you're now going to start seeing. I've already seen it in a couple of places. I was probably the first person on the whole damn planet to say this, by the way, that when they discovered that people, primarily Caucasians, and then and then a little bit in Asians and anyone that wasn't African, that there was Neanderthal DNA in us, like we had mixed breed with them. Well, I immediately knew right then. I mean, that's smoking gun proof that Neanderthals were not a separate species than us. They were a race of our same species. Because you wouldn't be able to crossbreed and have a surviving 4% DNA percentage in someone like me today unless they were the same species. It's just that's the definition of species. Some people try to stretch it. Look, we need a designation for what is the name for all of the creatures that can interbreed with one another, and that's species. Some people want to stretch it because they want to make, all this crazy ideas of this crossbred with that. No. If they breed together, they're the same species. So Homo neanderthalensis is what they had been calling Neanderthals. It's incorrect because Neanderthalensis was placed in the species position in the name. What that is correct to say now is that they are Homo sapiens subspecies Neanderthalensis. And I bet I was probably the first person on the damn planet to say that, because this has been a freaking nitpick of mine. I'm forgetting the term I'm trying to use right now. For a long time, is people trying to blur the line of what a freaking species is and how you name creatures. If you know they're the same species, you name them the same damn species. And they were failing to do that. Well, now some places in the scientific literature, they're starting to call them that: Homo sapiens subspecies Neanderthalensis. So if someone's trying to say, maybe you're referring to Melba Ketchum's bullshit. Well, for one, it's Melba Ketchum's bullshit, so it's not even really worth analyzing at this point. But yeah. But if she comes up with some hominid X, if anyone comes up with some hominid X bullshit, well, it's not hominid X, it's Homo sapiens. It's just maybe some subspecies or race or breed that we didn't previously know of. That's all that would mean. Doesn't mean we bred with some other species. Gene editing, splicing. Okay, so now you're going to try and say aliens come down and was jacking with us. Again, it's some more ridiculous claims that have never been remotely verified and don't make any damn sense. The genetics would be so completely incompatible between planets. Probably no kind of splicing would be even possible. It wouldn't work. The two different genomes would be absolutely antagonistic to each other. They're not going. You're not going to stick a bunch of DNA together from our planet and another planet, and they're just going to sit there and sing kumbaya. It's not going to work. This kind of idea comes from a complete lack of understanding of genetics, like complete total lack of understanding. Just finished dinner. 15th, I believe. I talked to Mike about it on the other night on Cole's show. He has it marked. I'll be down for Whitehall. Are we seriously going to get some rain right now? Hold on a second. I might have to close the doors. See how bad this is going to be. Looks like it might be pretty brief. I might not button it down entirely. Looks like it's going to be pretty brief. I'll let it slide. I'll let it slide. Icon, welcome. Welcome back, I guess I should say. Nice, Brian. Me and the Trekways are going to both as well. How you be? Icon, what carbohydrate delights you been eating? How goes it? Mr. Pup. Just look forward to meeting you, Chewy too. Raptor's here. What's up, at Raptor? Icon says, how you, Mr. Lee, how did you guess? I made beef stroganoff topped with 16-month-old fresh grated Parmesan. Well, you can make stroganoff with carnivore noodles. Get that carnivore noodle recipe, and then boom, there you are. Mr. Lee says, smoked paprika in your stroganoff? What? Got his own stroganoff without onions. Splice was a good movie. Go Loki, go Loki. These sirloin tips. User says, if only 1% of cryptids are like the movie Primal Rage, that would explain the missing people and women being used for sex by them. Yeah, a whole lot of assumptions there. A whole lot of assumptions there. So, I mean, just crazy. That is, man, where did we find this person? Mr. Lee says, Icon, next time add the smoked paprika. Telling you. He'd probably be farting up a storm in the other room already if you gave him this bad stuff. Smoked paprika. Found a great carnivore recipe channel, Chris Cooks Nashville. I don't know if I've seen that one before. The one I usually remember the only one I remember the name of for cooking is Ketogenic Women, or Ketogenic Woman, and she does a lot of carnivore recipes as well as the ketogenic ones. So really good on deviled eggs. Okay, so on to humans coming to Australia. Now, a lot of people are going to go on the assumption that they use boats, and a lot of people are going to immediately dismiss the possibility that Sasquatch could swim between islands like this. But that might be short-sighted, and maybe they didn't swim it, out of curiosity to see what was over there. Maybe they did get swept out by a storm, maybe a typhoon or hurricane or whatever came through, and they ended up in the water and floating on a log and got blown over there. Who knows? I mean, shit. I like one of my movie ideas about Sasquatch has to do with an ancient time when humans and Sasquatches actually existed and interacted together in their society, and how it came to be today where we don't interact anymore. Shit happened. Anyway, under that scenario, Sasquatch damn sure would have gone over on a boat. But, or also on maybe a plane of some kind, or a vessel, a ship of some kind. That gets into a little more wild of a scenario involving a technologically advanced culture that included the Sasquatch people, but keeping it away from that kind of stuff. Looking at what they're talking about in this article, Sasquatches may have looked out there and saw, hey, there's an island over there. I'm going to swim over there and see what's up. Who's to say they couldn't make the swim? They're a big, powerful beast. Lots of peeps go missing, not always cryptids. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, a lot of people want to assume just because someone disappeared without a trace, it's got to be the cryptids, or it just means they got disappeared. Okay, maybe there's a serial killer in the woods. Maybe they got hauled off by a bear or a mountain lion or whatever, and just weren't ever found. Maybe they fell in a river and got washed away. There's all kinds of scenarios where people could just disappear, and it has nothing to do with cryptids. But people, they've been watching too much of that freaking missing 411 crap. You can get carried away with this stuff if you're not careful. It was interesting, but there's no proof that anything supernatural happened. There's just a mystery. Like, we don't know what happened. And so you don't want to start jumping to conclusions. Well, since we can't find since we can't figure out what happened, and it's weird, it must be cryptids. It must be demons or ghosts or portals or some other kind of bullshit. Just slow your whole roll down. It does not must be nothing. So check it out. Yeah. I may have seen it. I've seen so many of those channels, they all run together. I mean, I just don't. The only one I remember the name of is Ketogenic Woman, and then there's the one with the twin women. I forget their channel name though. And there's some, just different people, but I just don't know the names of their channels. Stick that link up. Check it. Raptor says, still don't believe there's Bigfoot in Australia. Australia has been disconnected on its own for 30,000 years or more. Doesn't matter. The article we just went over showed, like, Australia is way closer to the islands in Southeast Asia. So it's way more likely that something can make it over there like that than the monkeys in the article we just looked at. In the article we just looked at, those monkeys floated all the way across the Atlantic Ocean. How did you get the monkeys from Africa all the way to South America? It's because sometimes animals get washed out to sea. They grab onto some floating vegetation of some kind. And, most may die, but sometimes they make it all the way across. I mean, look at, a lot of things. A lot of animals have made it to places that doesn't seem like, how do they make it there? Well, because sometimes shit happens. If those monkeys can make it across the Atlantic Ocean, it would be 10 times easier for Sasquatch to make it from Asia to Australia. So it's definitely within the realm of possibility. I'm not saying it's a certainty that they're there. I'm just saying it's within the realm of possibility. I just don't, people shouldn't say, they definitely can't be there when they definitely could be. It's a possibility. Because then what happens? Well, if you declare and everybody believes, oh, they're not there, then people aren't looking for them there, right? And then they don't find them, and they're like, see? And then it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Going to try carnivore mashed potatoes. Late to the party, Donald? Yep. Mr. Lee says, Lockbeard, that cloud lady with the keto bread. Yeah. The cloud bread, which is mostly made up of fluffed up egg whites, but it's got some other stuff in it. You got to tend to the husband. See you later. A lot of missing people is accidents, but if you pass in the woods, the scavengers will clean up. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, everybody's saying goodnight to Deborah. Yeah, and that's exactly what they're talking about in this article. Although technically we are still in an ice age right now, but the sea level was much lower. And there's the whole matter that we talked about before, that 13,000 years ago, the sea level rose 400 feet because of the Younger Dryas impact. So the sea level is much higher right now. So it seems like there's a lot more distance between Australia and the island chains that are north of it, but there wasn't that much distance before because the sea level was much lower. How to get to Australia more than 50,000 years ago. Over just the past few years, new archaeological findings have revealed the lives of early Aboriginal Australians in Northern Territories, Kakadu, potentially as early as 65,000 years ago, from the Kimberley and Pilbara regions of Western Australia by about 50,000 years ago, and the Flinders Ranges of South Australia by around 49,000 years ago. But how was it even possible for people to get to Australia in the first place? And how many people must have made it to Australia to explain the diversity of Aboriginal people today? In a study published in Quaternary Science Reviews this week, we used new environmental reconstructions, voyage simulations, and genetic population estimates to show for the first time that colonization of Australia by 50,000 years ago was achieved by a globally significant phase of purposeful and coordinated marine voyaging. Past environments. Australia has never been connected by dry land to Southeast Asia, but at the time that people first arrived in Australia, sea levels were much lower, joining the Australian mainland to both Tasmania and New Guinea. So they were all one continent. Our analysis using new high-resolution mapping of the sea floor shows that when sea levels were 75 meters or lower than present, a string of more than 100 habitable, resource-rich islands were present off the coast of northwest Australia. These islands were directly visible from high points on the islands of Timor and Roddy, and as close as 87 kilometers. This chain of now mostly submerged islands, the Sahul Banks, was almost 700 kilometers long. They represented a very large target for either accidental or purposeful arrival. So this is a very small distance compared to the Atlantic Ocean. In that first article I showed you, where the monkeys made it from Africa to South America, they crossed the entire Atlantic Ocean. So if those monkeys can make it completely across the Atlantic Ocean on floating vegetation, why can't Sasquatch make it across here the same way? Or maybe even swam it, because it says here that these islands were visible from Timor and Roddy, these islands in the upper left corner on this map here. And then there would be nothing to swim from island to island to get onto the mainland of Australia from there. And voila, you got Sasquatch coming out of Asia into Australia. No problem. This is absolutely no problem. It's fine. There's no reason to say, oh my gosh, there cannot be Sasquatch in Australia. No, you can't say that. There absolutely can be. There's just, it's just, I don't know why people would want to be so blind to these facts that I've already showed here. You know, a Sasquatch, hanging out on these islands here. You know, maybe a badass hurricane comes through and somehow they end up in this ocean and the currents carry them over. Or maybe they grab onto a log or something and they float on it and they land on the islands off Australia here. But even though it isn't connected by land, Sasquatch could have ended up in Australia this way. How difficult was it? Damn it. Hopefully my voice holds out. How difficult was it to get to Australia? Hold on. I think I'm going to have a coughing fit. Let me catch up in the chat. Mr. Lee says he was nowhere to be seen, but they did find his boots. Not yet. How much mass was in the asteroid impact? That's displacing a lot of water. I don't know what the numbers they estimated on that are, although they're not 100% certain of the impact site, but they seem to think it is Hiawatha crater. What they do know is there was, in fact, an impact. Damn it, man. Oh, man. If you haven't looked at Randall Carlson's discussion on this, he talked about it on Joe Rogan. He's talked about it on his own channel, the Cosmographia channel. Starts with K, Cosmo, Graphia. Anyway, where he explains pretty much what had to have happened and some of the evidence of it. It's just mind-blowing how devastating, freaking crazy, apocalyptic this situation was. Where the gigantic flood occurred in North America. If anything survived getting washed out to sea in that flood, the flood was just exceedingly violent. And anything that would have flowed out, I mean, there was opportunity for all. I mean, there's going to be a few things that do survive and end up on floating debris, and they're going to end up on other continents. And Sasquatch could have easily been floated out to sea on some stuff during that event. It could have been 13,000 years ago. That could have been the point in time that Sasquatch landed in Australia from America. If he survived the floating, the disaster. I mean, it's a wild disaster and it'd be a long trip, right? But Sasquatch, may have skills that we're not aware of when it comes to fishing and stuff like that. And we don't know how long they could go without food. Human can go weeks without food, depending on how fattened you are. I mean, that one dude, he went a year. He fasted a year and lost a bunch of weight. Because why? Body fat is just stored food. You can live on that. If you got body fat, you can live on it for as long as you need to. You just need water. Raptor says it was proven they made boats. That's how the Aborigines originally got there, with the giant lizards already living there, with the kangaroos and everything else. Yeah, the lizards developed there. But the Megalania monitor lizard, they are related to the Komodos. So the Komodos had to have left Australia themselves, and they didn't have boats. Are we seriously going to have a tornado siren right now? Oh, man. I mean, another interesting thing, mentioned in kangaroos, marsupials did not originate in Australia. And they come from America. That was a long time ago, though. And I think they were still connected. That's why. That's a different scenario. Brian Chewy says, "Hey Jen, Trackway told me the story of how bad he felt for you on the trip without a shower, and he was stinking. I'm sure you know he has the portable shower now." Oh, yeah. I know it's late where you're at. See you later, JoJo. You missed Deb. I want to tell her how to reconfigure your fight video. Contender. Jen says, "Yeah, Brian, we were all pretty yuck that trip." Told me about the camp shower. All I can say is woo. Yeah, man, I'm telling you. I have eye glaze when science uses big words. Yeah. Well, you know. Jen says, Brian, he said he was going to take some adjustment to get it before try early. Good to go. Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. That's a scary thing. That's why we need to get our shit together as a species and really work together about planetary defense. I mean, it sounds science fiction and blah, 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 but the reality is there are chunks of rocks flying around in the freaking universe that if they hit the Earth, yeah, there's going to be a brief, it's going to be very quick. We won't know what the fuck happened, man. No more Earth. Anti-M, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, hopefully I'm not flying away. Deb Subby thinks it's hilarious, her UK flyweight title. Yeah, I'm maintaining it's hard. Voice is taking it. It's been rough on my voice, and it's like there's something in there, I can't quite get it hacked out, Donald says they deflected one asteroid, probably on course for a direct hit. Yeah, that's the thing. Jacking around. You seen this stuff over? Where's over there? Where they're having all the floods because they've been cloud seeding, they've been fucking around cloud seeding, and they cause all these deadly floods and shit. Humans, no matter how smart we get, we got to always remember we don't know everything. So don't go jacking with shit too much. The fact is like cloud seeding, somebody should have looked at it and said, you know what, this is a bad idea, and let's just not do that. If it don't rain enough here, maybe we're not supposed to grow shit here. Maybe Mother Nature has made her choice, and we need to go grow our shit elsewhere, or listen to Lockbeard and don't grow anything at all. Well, you might grow cotton. Cotton might be okay to grow some, although we can probably, I don't know, because I'm in a war against polyester. Polyester's bad for you. It's toxic. You shouldn't wear it. 100% cotton or natural fibers, cotton or some kind of animal hair. I don't know that I don't know enough about the industry to say that we could possibly supply all human clothing needs with only animal hair and just abandon agriculture altogether. Because I mean, growing cotton seems kind of stupid when you can just graze a herd of sheep on that same land, and shear those bitches, or any other type of, animal that it gives you hair. Ocean says Tunguska-like event can happen anytime. Not sure it can be avoided as yet. Yeah, we would need to have a lot of satellites and a lot of eyes in the sky, more specialized cameras. There's going to be some, assistance from AI, we need to make sure we can keep a tight rein on that AI, but eventually, theoretically, we could get it to a point where we have a surrounding cloud of satellites that can detect incoming asteroids in time for us to do something about deflecting it. Because most asteroids we could probably deflect, and possibly all asteroids if we have enough time, if we detect it early enough. But there's surely there's a limit to that. If there's an entire planet flying at us, we're probably fucked, right? We probably better be chasing down those portal hopping Bigfoot that whoever that was claims exists. Portal hopping Bigfoot, man. But yeah, right now we're sitting ducks we're in a shooting gallery, and at any time we could be completely fucked. And it sucks. It's really a shame. We're at a unique time in our history where we could totally not be sitting ducks if we chose to, but for some reason we just stick around. Our governments, I should say. Also, some Vermont turds are pushing the global warming blame on last year's floods. Frigging snowflakes. Yeah. Floods happen, droughts happen, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it's just, have I said global warming's bullshit? The EPA's lying about that shit. The government's lying about that shit. Global warming's bullshit. Florida's still there. Any new people watching this in the future, global warming is bullshit. Sorry. I mean, the planet climate fluctuates all the time. And humans might have a very slight effect. But that sun up there has a firm grip on the thermostat of the planet. This mostly has to do with that sun. What its current activity levels are, and the distance, because our distance to the sun fluctuates some, and that determines our temperature too. Mr. Lee says, Lockbeard, the animals eat vegetables though. That's how you know what you're supposed to eat. If you see something that's eating vegetables, that's probably something that you need to eat. Including vegans. Vegans eat vegetables? Yeah, I think you could probably eat vegans. Although they're probably laced with all kinds of weird drugs and have all kinds of imbalances. I don't know. Maybe you shouldn't eat them. Ocean Pond says June, July, and October, November are prime time frames. Yeah, we're passing through the belt. Donald says, instead of aiming at each other, aim to the sky. Yeah, kind of. But but like I talked about this before, we literally can't. We're genetically programmed to fight. We can't help it. We can talk about it, and we intellectually can understand. We're genetically programmed to fight. But as a species, we'll just never be able to stop. That's why I say we should embrace that nature in us, and just do something like what were they called? The Drazi in Babylon 5, when they pick the purple and the green sash, there's half and half. They split their people into two groups, equal sized groups. Green sash wearing people, Drazi, and purple sash wearing Drazi, and then they fight to the death. And so, like 99% of them probably die, right? Because the green are killing the purple are killing the green, and eventually one side wins. But there's you might have started with a million of them, a million greens over here, and then they win, and there's like 10 of them left. But don't matter. That's what they do. They fight, and they're intelligent. They're spacefaring civilization, but they do what they do, and and humans will do the same. So we should embrace it, I think, and just say, every so often, this nation's going to go to war with some other nation, and just do it. And people will be like, some people will be complaining, I don't think we should be doing this. This is stupid. Shut the fuck up and go fight. No, well, you're fighting me right now. Channel that to them. Because that's what will happen. The people, there will always be people, they'll say, hey, I don't want to fight. But the reality is that seed is in there, and it'll build up, and it'll turn into social ills, which we've talked about that, how these social ills pop up where, all this ridiculous behavior that we see in our society right now has to do with the fact that none of these sniveling shits have been to war. None of these sniveling shits have been to war. They would shut the fuck up if they ever went to war. They wouldn't do this shit. Let's see here. Blame everything on global warming, from the droughts to the floods, snow and ice. Yeah. It's like they never experienced weather their whole life. Also, it's got pretty cold when the eclipse happened. Yeah, that was pretty neat. I wish we could have one of those anytime we want, every time we need it, or have them more often. That would be cool. AI to generate lasers like the game Asteroids. Well, I imagine probably our best bet would be to have thousands and thousands of kind of rockets with the capability of latching onto an asteroid that are stationed out there all around in a big globular shaped, shield around the Earth, and then use those to intercept with an asteroid, and then using they're already fueled, and then they latch onto the asteroid, and then they start pushing the asteroid into a different trajectory and get it away from the Earth. And and ideally, they should always push them into the damn sun. Just push them into the sun. They can't hurt the sun. Don says, yes, Angel, between the feeding erectile ED, snake oil porn, global warming BS, YouTube needs to take a look at their allowed advertisers. Yeah, it's funny. Isn't it funny? So tying back some of the stuff we've already talked about, because if I don't know if any of y'all watch Tim Pool stuff. Sometimes I watch. I don't watch him all the time, but sometimes I watch stuff because he annoys me, especially Ian. Ian is annoying. I wish they'd get rid of fucking Ian. Ian's goddamn stupid, man. Anyway, I can't stand Ian. Every time he starts talking, I'm like, fuck, what kind of bullshit now? Jesus Christ. But anyway, YouTube retroactively took down a couple of their most watched shows ever, the Tim Pool's shows, from like 3 years ago, I think he said they were. So YouTube's retroactively taking down their shit, and so they're just YouTube's all the time they're fucking with us. You know, and because YouTube's been acting weird and stuff, and just weird shit's been going on with it. They've changed something. That's what's happened. They've changed something, and it's causing old videos to get taken down. Like I had one taken down over on the Phenomena Network channel thing that I've been keeping put it up. You know, that maybe one day I'll run with that, maybe I won't. But if anything else, it's a backup place for Lockbeard Phenomena only over there right now. But maybe some other people's shows will start to be on there. Who knows? If I run with the network. But anyway, what was the thing? They said something during Tim Pool's segment about this that we were talking about earlier, and now I've lost it. But yeah, their rules for us are just ridiculous because if you're not talking the right narrative, they'll take you down, act like you're a horrible, depraved person, and meanwhile, you're offending Donald with this ED pills and snake oil porn. They saw my tool and think it needs girth. How'd they see your tool though? Raptor says the problem is we don't have the technology to push an asteroid away from us. That would be great if they did come up with something. I think we have the technology now. It's just a matter of spending the money on it and doing it. I mean, because all you got to do is have these rockets flying around in various orbits, but it's all in a globular area out there. And when you spot an asteroid coming, you send some of those or however many you need to come up to the asteroid. Come up. The asteroid's flying along, and they come up and land on it. So if it's going towards the Earth and you're pushing from the side here, it's not going to hit the Earth, right? If it's on there and it gets enough push on it, and of course it depends on how big it is. If it's really really big, we may not be able to have enough. We may not have enough fuel on the planet to push something really big like a planet. Okay, you're not going to have enough fuel on our planet to push another planet that's coming at us. In that case, only thing we can do is evacuate, which gets me to my other thing that I was talking about back in 2001 in the forum online about humanity should be working on being prepared to evacuate all humans very quickly, and animals and entire ecosystems. It was a huge project I talked about before, and it would be insanely expensive. And of course, that's a pipe dream, right? Because again, humans aren't going to work together well enough to do that. And, evil people want to control shit. And some people want to keep other people from, surviving. And it's just stupid shit. Them cameras always taking pics for Google. Yeah. After they hit one last year, they measured the deflection now. Ocean Pond says we can barely shoot a balloon down, let alone an asteroid or a comet. I don't know. I think that balloon nonsense was something else was going on there. But of course, Biden's in charge, so of course they couldn't shoot the balloon down. He's buddies with China. He's betrayed us. He's a traitor. He's in cahoots with China. Mr. Lee says new alien series coming soon, Romulus. Yeah, they already fucked up aliens. Raptor says even the small one they came up with, you would have to have rockets on that asteroid that are bigger than what they did with the shuttle. Yeah, I mean, you have to have a lot. That's why I'm saying it would be absolutely massive planetary defense project. Extremely expensive. But if people want to fucking live, So let's get on with this article, because look, I pretty much, this is open and shut case. It really is that Sasquatch could easily have made it to Australia. There's no reason to think that Yowie can't be real. It could be. It could be. I'm not saying it definitely is, just saying it could be. So it says, how difficult was it to get to Australia? Combining modeling winds and ocean currents with particle trajectory modeling, we simulated voyages from 3 sites on the islands of Timor and Roddy. This is similar to the approach used to model the movements of wreckage from the missing Malaysia Airlines flight MH370, which we're going to talk about in a little while. You guys definitely need to see this shit, okay? I know Mogs is coming on in 30 minutes, but fuck that shit. You need to see this Malaysia Airlines shit, man. Fucking the plane. I don't want to spoil, but the thumbnail already spoiled it. The plane was surrounded by orbs and then got sucked through a fucking portal. I shit you not. So fuck Mogs, stay here. You hear me, Mr. Lee? You're not going to believe this shit. If you haven't seen this yet, you're not going to believe this shit. Anyway, it says, in our model, we simulated the launch of 100 vessels from each site on February 1st each year for 15 years. The date was chosen to correspond to the main summer monsoon period, when the winds are generally blowing to the east-southeast, thereby maximizing the chance of successful crossings. Which, again, why has it got to be a purposeful crime? I mean, they could be just clinging to vegetation. They got blown off of a island in heavy winds or something and landed in the ocean and got washed out in a river. Who knows? And just ended up floating over there just like those monkeys. So, you know, they didn't have to be, there didn't have to be any boats involved. I'm saying that humans could have survived the crossing clinging to floating vegetation too, especially on such a short distance. The results clearly indicate that accidental arrival by drifting alone is very unlikely at any time, but the addition of even modest paddling towards the Sahu Banks Islands results in a high proportion of successful arrivals over 4 to 7 days. The highest probability of a successful landfall is associated with launching points on Western Timor and Roddy. Again, these guys are being way too pessimistic about the possibility here, right? Because, look, the monkeys got to South America from Africa across the goddamn Atlantic Ocean. They didn't have a boat. They had to have been floating on some vegetation of some kind that was floating. Let's see if we can play this video without causing any problems. Enough of that shit. How many people did it take to colonize Australia? Researchers have long speculated about how many people originally colonized Australia. Some have argued that Australia must have been colonized by accident, perhaps by just a few people. Yeah, maybe. Maybe it was accident. Maybe it was on purpose. Who knows? I mean, if they could see the islands, humans are natural explorers. If they saw the islands, they probably said, "Hey, let's paddle over there." And I don't see why they couldn't have done it. I think we underestimate what they could have done. Others have suggested a steady trickle of colonists. Estimates of the founding population have ranged from 1,000 to 3,000. The genetic evidence shows that Australia was colonized in a single phase, perhaps at multiple locations, but with very limited gene flow after initial colonization. The diversity of mitochondrial DNA lineages found in Aboriginal populations allows us to estimate the minimum size of the original colonizing population. Mitochondrial DNA is only inherited from mothers. Aboriginal mitochondrial DNA diversity alone represents at least 9 to 10 separate lineages, assuming, well, this goes into a lot of stuff that really doesn't matter. The point is the monkeys made it across the Atlantic Ocean. The humans made it to Australia. And it's just the main point I had here is that this is a tiny, tiny gap that needed to be crossed compared to the Atlantic freaking ocean. And the monkeys, some stupid monkeys, floated across the Atlantic Ocean. So, yeah, there is no problem with the possibility of Sasquatch / Yowies being in Australia. I'm sorry. It's totally a possibility, assuming they exist. Donald says, you folks didn't watch them impact that one. Raptor says, cameras were rolling when they made an impact, hit it dead center. Yeah, Mr. Lee says, Yowie can definitely be real. Yeah. I mean, I think just with these two articles and the points I've made, it's definitely 100% a possibility. Yeah, there's really not much more to say. I mean, and that's not even bringing into the possibility, the consideration that maybe my theory that perhaps in the past, our type of human and Sasquatch type of human may have interacted more. Maybe Sasquatch trusted us better back in the day, 50,000 years ago, during the civilization that built all those stone structures. Because, you know, if those people were not building all those stone structures long ago and not have boats. If anyone's assuming that humans didn't have boats that far back, they're fucking stupid, you know. Humans have been able to do all this type of shit, all kinds of tool making for a very, 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 very long time. And there's no reason to think the Sasquatch can't figure out how to float across something on a log or something. You know, it's a really simple concept. So, yeah. Michael Haywood. Yeah, fuck modes, man. Word G. Raptor said that Donald, I understand that I'm asking where is the video where they hit that dead center comment you're talking about. Asteroid hit by a weapon to test for rerouting. Whatever, Raptor, they hit it at quite the distance. We have the technology to deflect potential threats. Yeah, we totally do. I mean, it's not that big of a deal, really. You just hit it with a explosion of some kind. Might be appropriate sometimes, or attach a thruster. Basically, attach a thruster to it and push it, and just change. If you do that early enough, you change its trajectory. It's going to miss the planet. So, user says the book Solaris by Stanislaw Lem was written after interviewing cosmonauts about what they experienced. Not sure how relevant that is. Chessboard's here. Welcome. I just proved that it is possible that Yowie is in Australia, but I can't prove that Yowie is actually in Australia. Sorry. Raptor says, Donald, okay, I'll look it up later. I was trying to argue. Just wanted to know. I wasn't trying to argue. Just wanted to know if you had the video for it. So the next thing, oh, damn it. There we go. So let me make sure you guys can see this all right. Yeah. New witness of the 1973 alien abduction in Mississippi featured in the new Netflix doc claims she saw the 5-foot creatures with pincher-like claws that performed examinations on 2 fishermen.
So do they think that your descent was before or after the other one?
I believe because I was watching them from my car, so I know it had to been after.
Oh, so you watched it from your car before?
Yes.
Okay, so it couldn't have been the same time either. Okay, so it's
Calvin and Charlie back. When they brought them back from the spaceship, it took off, and that's when I seen it go down. They like to follow the river or the roads and stuff as using for maps.
You were outside or inside your car?
I was inside my car.
And he was inside the car. Both of you were inside.
The car.
Okay.
And I'm looking down, and I seen Calvin and Charlie down there fishing, and so I'm looking what's going on all around me, because I had nothing else to do. So when I look off in the distance, I seen which I thought was an airplane come over towards Gaucher, come in my view, and so I'm just watching it, and I'm thinking, oh, that's a UFO. How you just see something, so I'm gonna watch that. I said,
I get distracted easily. I'm always looking at my windows, like, what's that?
I said, well, I'm just gonna watch that and see what that does.
I was on the same entertainment.
Yeah, just because I was bored, and so it kind of like there's Highway 90. It followed the length of the followed the Highway 90. It stayed right there like it was a map, and it come down. And right before, we had a drawbridge back then. It's not the same bridge. And right before it got to the drawbridge, it crossed over and come down. And I told my husband, I said, I didn't know there was a little airstrip over there, because it come down like it was landing.
And that was on the other side of the river by where Charlie and
where Charlie was at. Yeah, and then it came down, and when it come down, it's come over by where they were at, and it come up behind them.
Okay.
And so it kind of like was in the marsh, and I'm thinking it's a little space place over there where they can land, landing place. But it wasn't. It was they was just hovering over the marsh.
Wow. And then what did you see happen?
Well, when I seen it coming, it come up behind them, which I didn't know that's what it was doing, because I couldn't, because it done got dark.
That's what I was wondering too. Was it kind of like, could you see very well, or was it dark?
It was dark. It done gotten dark, yeah. And it was coming up behind them. That's when Calvin said he seen the blue lights. He thought it was cops.
Yes.
I'm on this side.
Trespassing.
I'm on this side watching my car, and it's coming. I seen the lights, the blue lights flashing. It was like both of them, the lights were like this and blue, and it was coming up behind them. And when it got up behind them, that's what he said. He thought, well, we're in trouble, Charlie.
Okay.
But anyway, I seen it when the door opened.
How did it open?
It
like
just
side to side? Or
like that.
Okay, like an elevator almost, but two sides.
It opened up. The bright light come through. The bright white light come through. It's very bright. And I seen the three UFO guys come out.
Aliens robots or something.
Aliens or whatever they are. But see, at the time I didn't know that's what that was.
Right.
I'm watching from a distance, not really knowing what I'm seeing.
Was it? So did it look more just like shadows almost, or
no? It looked like people. I mean, from where I was at, I'm thinking I'm looking at people.
The people coming out of this craft. Okay.
Yeah. Well, anyway, they come out. And they went down to where they were at, and Calvin and Charlie was at, and I seen when they brought them back, and Calvin had by the arm and Charlie by the arm, and Calvin is slumped over. He looks like he's passed out, and Charlie, he's kind of like hanging on there. He's not as scared.
Okay.
He's not as scared as what Calvin was. Anyway, they took him up into the spacecraft, and it was like 30 minutes later. Like I said, didn't know exactly what was happening over there. I'm just watching from a car until later on. And then they come back out. They brought them out and took them back down to the waterfront, set them down, and about 30 minutes.
30 minutes, okay.
And so that's when I seen it go down and come back, the spacecraft, and then it went back down, and that's when I told my husband.
I believe it. When did you first meet Calvin Parker?
The first time I actually seen him was when he got abducted.
You were there, had someone to relate to.
But everything that happened that night between Calvin and Charlie with the aliens, when the humanoid shot them, I seen it all. I seen the whole thing. I seen it come down. When from the distance when it was fire, because it come over and it started following the path of the highway.
Interesting.
And it came as following the highway, because I watched it, and it came all the way down right before it got to the drawbridge, which was there at the time. It crossed over and it started coming down. I said, "Wonder where that plane's going?" I said, "There's not no little aircraft thing over there for them to land."
Well, is she full of shit? People out there start shit up people. I mean, is she adding any new information really? I don't know. Pat, he says she's nuts. Why all the giddy laughing? Yeah, exactly. No, man. No, man. He says, no, man. Pat says no. She's fucking nuts. Rapper says making up false content for money on the channel. All the pictures were in stone and they faded out with time. Your pictures of you building the Sphinx. Yeah, yeah. Ocean says Calvin and Charlie must have had a bad night. Yeah, apparently it sounds like they did. I think she roofied them both. That's what really happened. Don't want to risk hypnosis in case it goes wrong. What in the hell is wrong with the signal up in this bitch? Are we having a power outage maybe? I don't know. No, that place is going. I don't know if that's a generator running or what. Signal's still on. I need to get the power hook up to the battery power, or I'm going to have an unscheduled shutdown on this sucker. Please stand by. Yeah, users, I obviously you believe that aliens are abducting people. I don't believe that's the case. I don't see adequate evidence of that. If somebody is abducting people, it is either our government or someone else's government or the remains of the ancient civilization of humans, the ones who I think built the moon, who built all of the massive megalithic structures around the earth tens of thousands of years ago, not just 5,000 or 6,000 years ago, or whatever ridiculously young age they give the shit, like the Sphinx. It's way older than what they say. There was an ancient civilization of advanced humans who didn't just have boats. They had aircraft, they had spacecraft, that kind of shit. And that moon is constructed. It's not natural. And so you're missing out on some really cool shit if you just look at there's evidence for. There's evidence for the moon being an artificial structure. There's no evidence for aliens abducting these people. It's probably, if there is something that looks weird, like the description of the Greys, well, Greys to me look like something that could be a breed of humans, basically a Chihuahua version of a human, right? Why are the aliens basically humanoid, is what I'm saying. We got a lot of weird shit on our planet, right? We got animals here that look way different from us. Octopus is a weird ass animal. It definitely comes from Earth. Don't listen to those people say, oh, it's an alien. No, it's a mollusk. It's a mollusk, okay? We have a lot of species of mollusks. There's a clear place where they fit. And what I'm saying is an octopus is a very weird creature, and it comes from here. So why is it that the aliens that people are seeing look almost exactly like a human. Well, probably because they are human. They're a type of human, a race of humans. That are little. They've lived separate from us for a long time, possibly all inside the moon, maybe some places on Earth out of sight, but you know, it's far more likely. Occam's razor, right? It's far more likely, especially if the shit with genetic tests and crossbreed, because you want to believe there's hybrids, right? Well, if those aliens are a race of Homo sapiens, then yeah, they're totally compatible with us. Now we can have hybrids with them. But guess what? They're not aliens. They're human. Okay? So there's no alien human hybrids. That's absolutely totally a ridiculous concept. Even with technological splicing, the two genomes would be so alien to each other that they would be antagonistic to each other. They could not function together. It wouldn't make sense to waste time trying to force them to function together. People who say that aliens can crossbreed with humans have zero understanding of genetics or biology at all. And they possibly have their head all the way up their ass. And yeah, so the whole story sounds made up, says Mr. Lee. Raptor, you think as the world turns was real, they got paid. Wind, sand plays havoc on stone. Yep. Squash Talk says the giddy thing is always a huge red flag with stories. Yeah, it can be, but some people that's just their nervous behavior. You know, they're nervous, but it can be certainly. Peer-reviewed science journal Lancet claimed hypnotism was a stage act with a paid audience. I don't know what you're referring to there. Donald says, wouldn't doubt there's a higher intelligence in our oceans. Could be, could be. There's a lot we haven't seen down there. There could be somebody down there that's smarter than us. Raptor says, Locke, is the storm moving through into Ohio Valley? Oh, I don't know. I just know that we had a little bit of a storm, but it wasn't much of one, but came through. Helped cool things down. I'm sure glad. Dr. Stephen Greer reckons the government are faking alien abductions. Yeah, they could be doing that. It could just all be fake. I kind of hope that the small race of alien-like, what people call aliens, I don't think they're aliens if they're real. If they're real, I don't think these grays that people talk about are aliens. I think they are a race of humans, basically the Chihuahua version of us. A race of people that are just small, which is totally feasible, totally possible. Don't know if it's true, but it's a way better theory than aliens flew halfway across the universe to probe our ass. That don't make any goddamn sense. And they look almost exactly like us. When compared with all the other weird looking shit on our planet, they look almost exactly like us. Why aren't they covered in tentacles or some shit? 3 minutes behind. We'll put her in 1.25 speed or 2x speed or whatever your preferred speed is, and you can be live with us. Kaiju says, Locke, they're humans from the future. Well, that theory, I've heard people say that, but I don't believe that's the case. Time, the whole concept of reverse time travel is fantasy. Science fiction, even like if it's in science fiction has time travel in the past. I say we should call it fantasy instead of science fiction because it's such a ridiculous concept. It's funny. We don't have time to try and go into why it's such a ridiculous concept. Now, moving a little faster going forward might be a possibility. But going in reverse just breaks the entire damn universe, right? It can't work. It can't happen. It's an utterly ridiculous concept. It's just so I'm going to do everything I can try to squash that entire idea. It's ridiculous. It can't happen. The paradoxes would be insane, like way worse than you ever see in the science fiction. And the whole idea, like they have in a lot of science fiction, where, well, every time you make a change, you know, the universe splits into two. Yeah, that's a ridiculous concept. It's completely stupid. It's absolutely ridiculous. But yeah. Squatch Talk says the Greys look like primates, sort of. Yeah, that sort of. I mean, we kind of go. I mean, you got to take the appearance descriptions loosely, because a lot of people can't accurately describe, you know, a person they saw going down the street, right? They can't accurately describe stuff. So we kind of gotta. We can't take it as gospel what a lot of people have said they look like. We got to understand that some people can't describe the damn thing. You know, they're just not good at it. No pubes, kind of weird. Maybe they, maybe they laser it all off. I applaud them. We don't need no 1970s aliens. Chessport says, Donald, there are humans that cannot talk but are highly intelligent. So what cannot another creature be this? Why cannot another creature be the same? Humans from the far future. Think about it. No. Reverse time travel is just completely not possible. Completely not possible. I know a lot of people want it to be. They want to believe. Oh, let's look at this guy and this old picture, and he's got a cell phone and the sunglasses in this when they didn't have cell phones or something. It's all bullshit. It's like Mandela effect. All Mandela effect is people misremembering shit, and some degree of pareidolia kicking in, which we're all familiar with Bigfoot stuff, right? The mind wants to fill in the blanks the way it thinks it needs to be. It's a survival mechanism that we have to fill in the blanks. Sometimes if your eye doesn't quite catch 100% of the picture, your mind is very complex and constructs a complete picture that it thinks should be there, so that you're able to handle whatever is there. And sometimes it makes a mistake and it sees a face in the bush that isn't there. You go over there with your weapon drawn because an enemy attacker might be there, and he's not. Sometimes it's a mistake. It's better to make that mistake and see a face that isn't there than to fail to see the face in the bush and you die. So that's why your brain, this is my hypothesis, this is why your brain is a little bit overzealous about picking out faces and things, because it's better to see a face that isn't there than to fail to see a face that is there. So it's overactive about finding faces so that you deal with that. It could be a potential enemy or other familiar forms that might be dangerous, a bear or a wolf or something like that. But I'm going to have to I'm trying to catch up in the chat here. If I skip over, sorry. Messed up the months resetting my sundial. Got another run out of the maples. They were confused. Humans are like a spliced species too. No, and no. Again, more ridiculous fantasy bullshit. Humans are very clearly genetically part of the family tree with all the other primates. Again, you're in some kind of fantasy land. I don't know who you are. We never seen you here, unless you're under another name and you're trolling us. I mean, you gotta be a troll. The stuff you've said so far has been so utterly goddamn ridiculous. It's hilarity, absolute hilarity. Vermont, going to Vermont. Why on earth would a species intelligent enough to travel light years want to stick a probe up your ass? Exactly. It's just some ridiculous bullshit, you know. But if there's another race of humans and those grays are actually humans here, I don't know. Maybe they want to do medical experiments on us, you know. I don't know. Or it's just a big government load of, you know, a government program for some stupid reason. Or people are just hallucinating, basically. They're seeing shit that isn't real. Jaunt into your spot. User says the predestination theory is possible. Humans could be a self-created species from their own future. Using Occam's razor, as you said, it's more likely alien. No. Predestination is even more ridiculous than aliens being involved. Is this the best trolling you can do? Because this is hilarious. Squatch Talk says you can travel into the future, but no way to the past. Exactly. Pat knows. Like it's really kind of logical, you know, because we have seen variations in the passage of time, and what's going on is again what you all need to do if you want to try and get some kind of, which you're not gonna be satisfied because it's kind of mundane. It's not fantastical, but basically in a field, you know, like a magnetic field or any kind of field, everything in the universe is basically made of fields, and even things that they call particles, they're actually fields, or, you know. Anyway, Ken Wheeler explains it in his writings and on his channel. So if you want to go dive into that, y'all can. But basically, within a field, time passes at different rates at different points in a field. So there you go. So I don't know if you could create an extremely strong field, manipulate the field somehow, and then by standing within a certain point, I don't know. I'm not going to hold my breath for it. It sounds like it's probably I should just write out time at the speed it's going and call it good. But, you know. How about this? If we think evolution is a real thing, are humans still evolving, and could they evolve into the grays? What I think happened is, okay, well, for one, let me make sure that I'm very clear about this. If grays are real and if Sasquatch is real, okay, I'm saying if because there's a possibility both are completely not real, but if they are, judging by what we kind of know, right? Sasquatch is probably Homo sapiens, and it's just a big hairy race of humans, not a separate species. There's certain similarities in the morphology that I can't. I'd find it extremely unlikely that they would be a separate species entirely, and also the fact that they are, you know, they may be extremely elusive, but you know, they well clearly they are extremely elusive, but they're but you know, like a mountain lions are very elusive. Sometimes a mountain lion is sneaking around your house and in your bushes all the time, and you never see it. But then people see it on a security camera one day, and like, what the hell? It's like that cat's probably been there forever. You know, they're extremely elusive. They're good at not being seen by humans, but we do see them sometimes, and we, you know. But imagine being that elusive or even more elusive, and also having the intelligence of a human. Well, now you got Sasquatch possibility there, you know. But and then so if Sasquatch is real, I think it's a race of humans, and if the Greys are real, I also think they're a race of humans, and that they have already differentiated from us, you know, thousands of years ago. In the case of the Greys, sometime before 13,000 years ago. In the case of Bigfoot, sometime earlier than that, I think. But it's, you know, and I'm just saying 13,000 years ago because I have a feeling that I don't want to. It's a big tangent to go on, but anyway, and you know, that's, you know, they haven't evolved into a separate species, I don't think, if they're real. But there's not enough data to really know any of this. So let's be clear about that. But that's what I'm saying is that our humans have diverged already into 3 different types: the Greys, our type of human, and Sasquatch. And they're all still the same species. They're just different races. You know, we see our little differences of black and white, right? We have black and white. We call it races. Black and whites are actually extremely similar genetically. Like you'd be really surprised. We have our genetic differences, but you know, but different races could have greater genetic differences in that. Like with Neanderthals have now been proven to be the same species as us. I have Neanderthal DNA. You have Neanderthal DNA. That race of people got blended back into the rest of humanity, and that could only happen if they're the same species. So I think that's already happened, Kaiju. That the Greys and the Sasquatch have already they happened thousands of years ago, where they differentiated from us. There was the selective breeding, possibly natural selection would not be the appropriate thing to call it, because it may not have been 100% natural. Humans started guiding their own breeding a long time ago in many ways. So how much is nature in there? Nature's in there to some extent, but it could be minimized. Superman done it. Fiction. I'll be up in the Long Trail this summer. Maple harvesters will be double dipping this year. This is the Pascagoula alien abductions. You can watch the whole story on Netflix. Been a minute, Pat. I'll be lurking in your chat lately. Good shows. Appalachian Gap, call me. Coordinates. Vermont trip. Yeah, when are you going live again? You don't know. He don't know. He's random. Kind of like me now. I can't do Saturday nights anymore. I can't do any night in particular reliably. So, because I don't know what my schedule is. That's what sucks about this that's one thing that sucks about this whole change I've in my life. So, 20 miles. Want to know if BNC got Bigfoot experiences at that Florida get together. Don says, I'll get that video done for you, Pat. I had to start on my current one. The editing app couldn't handle all the info in a short period of time. Files that explain. And Bigfoot, there's no proof of it. Yeah, I know. There's no proof of any of it. Mr. Lee says, Tim Boy Cool. Never did see aliens with pinchers for hands. Good. I got rid of Netflix. Great butt talk. Don't forget the aliens. Happening this year has been shoulder doing, or should I ask? 50? Heard about that spot. Lots of reports. Man, how far behind am I in the chat? Math was your best subject, huh, Mr. Lee? Shoulder, great. Hiking. Rubbish at maths. User says you don't have rabbit cryptids or hummingbird cryptids. They're all the big top predator species. Yeah, because humans they're not going to make up well, you say that, but you know, like, is the Easter Bunny a rabbit cryptid? You know. Anyway, humans are going to tend to have fantasies about respectable, vicious animals, right? Something scary, tell the scary stories, you know. Right? Is that where the defended Air Force radar base was? Defunded. You're going to need to jump in here. You might have to. My voice is fucked. Well, hold on. I got a lot of shit. I got two more things, and this last one's a long one, because and this ain't the last one. This ain't the last one. I don't know. I've already been on for 2 hours. Maybe. Well, Mr. Lee, I'm telling you, the Malaysia flight stuff, you've got to see. If you haven't seen this, the plane was surrounded by orbs and sucked into a fucking portal. But we're gonna look at this one first, because this is the next thing on my list, and then and then and then and then we'll look at the Malaysia Airlines thing, and then oh man, can we do it another night? Because I was really trying to hope and wrap this sucker up. I've been on here for 2 hours and my voice has gone to hell, and I still got the two topics that I've been trying to go through. So this was the alien mummies. The Peru. See, I'm wondering, why is the Peruvian officials trying to seize this pregnant specimen, supposedly pregnant specimen, 3 fingers and toes? Strain out of a sci-fi, a scene straight out of a sci-fi thriller or a press conference showcasing alien mummies took a bizarre turn after Peruvian authorities attempted to seize a pregnant new specimen. As part of the event hosted by ufologist Jamie Mousen in Peru, a new alien specimen named Montserrat was presented to those in attendance. Mousen, 70, known for his prolific research into extraterrestrial phenomena, had previously made headlines by presenting 2 alleged mummified aliens found in Palpa and Nazca in Peru in 2016 at the Mexican Congress in 2023. The ufologist has been claiming there is definitive proof on the so-called tridactyl mummies due to them having 3 fingers and toes for several weeks. Now, 7 months on, he's unveiled his latest discovery, a mummified being named Montserrat that is claimed to have been pregnant at the time of her death. I don't know, it looks like plaster shit to me. But who knows? Who knows? I don't know. I thought this stuff had been debunked, though. Expecting a tridactyl fetus, now affectionately named by his Raphael. They named the fetus. Dramatic turn, press conference interrupted by officials, the Peruvian Ministry of Culture, who stormed the event with the intention of seizing Montserrat's mummified body. Why would they why would they want to see? See, that makes me wonder something's up. Something's up here. Accompanied by specialized police officers, officials interrupted a speech given by researcher and journalist Yowies Mantilla to take control of the microphone. The official said, "Sorry for the interruption. We are taking an unexpected preventative action with the Ministry of Culture and the Specialized Cultural Heritage Police regarding the exhibition of the tridactyl mummies that you have reported on social networks." But in an even eerier twist, plans to confiscate Montserrat's body were halted after stunned ministry officials learned that the physical mummy was not present at the event. Instead, Mousen and colleagues were carrying out a video presentation on the tridactyl mummy, which resulted in officials being invited to watch the 15-minute long video with the audience. The presentation involved analysis by forensic odontologist and retired professor at the University of Colorado, John McDowell. He was accompanied by William Rodriguez, a forensic anthropologist for Maryland State Medical Examiner, and Dr. James Caruso, a medical examiner based in Denver. So what the hell is the deal here? Are they gonna have any conclusion, or? I mean, this just could be if these are real, which I don't know that they are. If they're real, they probably just a mutate, some kind of mutation. Like there's a genetic abnormality called lobster claw syndrome that results in, your fingers and your toes getting welded together. And that's why they call it lobster claw syndrome, because it looks weird. And that's the origin. That's why the ostrich foot people, there's a tribe called the ostrich foot tribe. They have lobster claw syndrome. It's a genetic deformity. The guest speakers concluded that the mummified bodies are to undergo further investigation and cannot yet be dismissed as fake. Officials maintain that the bodies are dolls made of human bones, which are likely to have been dug up by grave looters to sell on the black market, as reported by Need to Know. Science writer Mick West said there are many reasons why the Peruvian government might want to take action against Jamie Mawson's alien mummy. He added, grave robbery, illegal transportation of human remains, smuggling of archaeological artifacts, fraud. We'll have to wait to see. So it could be just that. It could be they're fake and it's just all a big freaking scam, and I don't know. Let me jump back over on StreamYard. Where was I? Send it. I don't know. Hold on a second. Patience. We'll get them on. Just let me know. Like, what did you want to talk about this subject specifically? What was it we were talking about? I really want to get into this Malaysia stuff, and it's kind of long. I don't know. I put Patience Donald. Yes, it has moved on. Never take shop lessons from a 3-finger teacher. What the fuck? Oh, shoot. More crazy shit. Chinese balloons, case closed. Shit. But sure, some similar creatures, pyramids, gargoyles. I mean, we could do... stolen images before this nonsense. Bigfoot King stolen images. Hold on, let me get some light on the situation. Hold on, I'm getting the link. Because I ain't gonna go. It's gonna take a while to there's the link. There's the link. I'll just put off the Malaysia thing because it's gonna be. It'll take a long time to. Let me get that off of here. Let me get some light on the situation is all I know. Just a second. Unless you don't mind it being dark. Same happening to me and Max Bigfoot. We just heard weird mumblings out there. Oh shit! What the hell? Oh, damn it! Been going on through different. There's weird typo. User. Is that Bigfoot driving tractor? Video on YouTube. That's Sherry Wild talks about abduction. Mumbling had tones like Charlie Brown's teacher, but Draper vocal and mix with that cousin IT and slow it down. What? Deeper vocals. So is Pat still here? Do I have to take this other deal off here? Maybe that's what it is. Yeah, I don't want to be on much longer. The Malaysia thing will take a long time. It's some wild. It's pretty wild shit. If it's real, it's some wild shit. So maybe we'll do it next week or something. 2 different vocals. Mic Ann is running what we recorded through some apps. It can't. What? Homo sapiens on a bird. Is Pat still here? I don't see him coming up. Which part did he want to talk about? Was it the alien theories or the time travel or whistles and math pops, then elongated whoop sound? Whoop. Got a whoop as well. I don't think Locke knows what you're talking about. Got a whoop on his recorder down there. Yeah, I probably don't. I don't know what you're talking about. He had to put whiskey on ice. What? What you talking about, Willis? Mr. Lee says, Lockbeard, can we do a whole show on the Malaysia thing? I guess we can. I mean, there's a lot of video to look at and go through, so it's probably the best thing to do. It's fucking wild, man. Probably not aliens. Oh, there, I see him coming. There he is.
Hey, here I am.
There he is. Welcome. So what was it you were wanting to comment on?
Dude, okay, so I want to jump in and talk to you about time dilation. If we could spend like a minute or two on that at least.
Yeah.
And then like move on from there, like obviously. But yeah, I mean fuck the dumb mummy shit.
Yeah.
Because I know there's other things, whatever we can talk about. But hold on, let me put the cam back up. The funny thing is that Pete is right there. Look at him. He's humping the blanket.
Oh my gosh.
Dude, blanket humpies. Oh my god. Yeah. No, so like time travel's a real thing. And so like Tristan had asked, time travel in the past, is that possible? And you're like, no fucking way. And I'm like, no fucking way. Like that's not a thing. Like you can't, there's not even a speck. There's not even a quantum speck of science to hold on to start talking about traveling like back into the past, right?
Yeah.
The amazing thing is that we could travel into the future. It's time dilation. That's a real thing. And there are actually time travelers among us. How many of you know this and know this is not a crazy Lockbeard show? The moon is full of cheese kind of fucking shit I'm talking about here. There are actually time travelers among us. They walk among us in our world right now. They traveled literally into the future. And this is fascinating shit, dude. It's basically the further and faster you travel away from the earth, the more time slows down for you relative to everybody else on earth, right? You're familiar with this, I'm sure.
Yep.
Lock.
Yep.
And
Yep.
so we're all traveling through time right now. It's just that we're all traveling through time pretty much the same. We're moving through space. We're moving through the universe. We're moving around the galaxy. We're moving at a certain speed. There's certain curvature in our space time that's around us because of gravity. And so all those factors come into play. We're all doing it the same. But if you just get outside of that bubble just a little bit and go a little bit faster and a little bit further, you literally, I think the world record, Lock, is something like 2 or 3 seconds into the future. A human has. It was the guy that was on the International Space Station for 2 years.
Yeah, I don't know what the exact amount was, but yeah, he experienced different time than we did.
Yes, so
and all the astronauts too.
Right, and that's documented if you believe it, right? So one could just say, "Oh, that's bullshit," like flat Earth. No, the Earth's flat. It's all bullshit, right? There is no International Space Station. But no, for real. So this is fascinating to me.
Yeah, wondering how far we can push it.
To what? To travel into the future?
Yeah, how far we can push the differential in time.
Amazing. Like Planet of the fucking Apes type shit. Like, right?
Oh shit.
Yeah.
But once you're there,
so all you have to do is figure out. All you have to do is figure out how to move it at near the speed of light. Let's just say, whatever, just below the speed of light. And you could send people thousands and thousands of years into the future. Like thousands of years into the future. It would so just go shoot off into the galaxy this way, go check this thing out, come back. And in their lifetime, relative to like us, they fucking, they just spent whatever, like, I don't know, like 1,000 hours out in space. They come back. I don't know the exact equation. They come back to Earth and it's hundreds of years in the future. And that's how time dilation actually works. If you can move almost at the speed of light, you got to be really up there in the percentage of moving that fast.
They had an episode of the Orville. Did you watch that?
No.
The Orville. It was Seth MacFarlane's kind of Star Trek parody show, and there was an episode where they ended up back in time, and they were stuck there. But somebody came up with the idea. They had a device. I can't remember what they called it. They had a device on their ship that protected them from the differentials in time. So all they had to do was turn that off and then go really fast to get back to the future where they wanted to be.
Right.
And basically the same thing, Looks like Kaiju still thinks we can travel back in time, though. He says those beings might have figured out how to time travel back in time. But that's not possible.
Yeah, I mean that's just saying, though. That's just saying. So as far as traveling backwards in time, like I said, dude, there's not even one quantum piece of any fucking evidence or hope or nothing that you could ever travel back in time. But we know that we could travel into the future. We know how that's done. It's theory of relativity. It makes that possible. And there's nothing to hold on to or even believe in other than magic. Who doesn't want to fucking go back in time, man? Every single human. How many human beings are on the planet?
Oh,
like 8
there's
billion?
no way that doesn't break the universe. Do what?
There's 8 billion fucking people on the planet. Each one of them wishes they could go back in time. Right, so the motivation for trying to figure out how to turn the clock back is pretty high with humanity, and we haven't even. It's not that we've even come close. It's that any reasonable, intelligent, even highest level academic looks at it and says just what you said. It would break the universe. Like there's not enough energy in the universe to actually make that happen.
I'm trying to think of a proper analogy for it. I mean, it's like traveling through times like you just jumped off a building, right? There's only one way you're going to go. You can't go backwards, you know? And I don't know how best to explain it.
Every time you jump off the building, you're going to die. You're going to fucking die or get seriously hurt, right? You'll never, ever just magically in your head go, you know? Go ahead. Sorry.
Rapper's asking the same question he asked about everything.
Yeah, where's the evidence of what? There is no evidence that we can travel back in time.
He needs to look to mainstream science for all that.
There is no evidence.
Like,
I don't have to provide evidence that we can't. Yeah. You know, Raptor. That's a strong.
We get the internet. Is he? He bought. Wait a minute.
Yeah, it just fucking happens. Like my bandwidth just fucking like will die in a split second for like every now and then. But no, I just like honestly, Locke, because you were talking about time travel and you were getting that right. You're like, nope, you can't go back in time, but yes, you can go into the future. Like, I'm sorry, I'm a science fucking nerd. And I love the idea of traveling into the future. And what's crazy is that most people don't understand that, number one, there's actual like time travelers among us, albeit, not significant, right? It's not all that significant.
Yeah.
But every astronaut that's gone into space is a fucking time traveler. Like they traveled into the future, technically, even if it's in microseconds, right? And most people don't realize that. And I'm like, hey, let's build the fucking whatever thing we need to build to shoot people off at, almost the speed of light, because you can't break it that we know of, right? And let's do that fucking like that amazing 5-year, 20-year, 100-year, 10,000-year like travel into the future. Let's do that. Like as a species, holy shit, we would advance like incredibly so fast,
What if you get to the future and it sucks?
Well, yeah, like Planet of the Apes, right? Bigfoot took over.
Yeah.
No, you ruined it all. Like, yeah. And you just fucking use your knowledge to kill every one of them. You pull out your 12 gauge and start blowing their faces off.
Damn it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I'd be worried about if we ever had a technology for it. I'd be worried about that. What if we get to the future and it sucks, and then we go further and it still sucks, and no matter what we do, it always sucks, and we were better to stay home, but we can't go back.
It's an interesting thought experiment, and you're right, we can't go back because, again, every human being on the planet has the desire to go back and fix something, right?
Yeah.
All of us do. We wish we could. No human being has even come close to figuring that out. But we can go forward. And yeah, you're right. I mean, it's the artistic thing too, right? Just, I don't know, 20 years. Like what's weird about that to you? It would probably be a lot, honestly. But like to say 2,000 years, like I wouldn't even want to wrap my head around that. I mean, that's like saying pluck a Roman soldier from 2,000 years ago and throw him into modern day world, like he would just fucking lose his mind. He would go cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. I mean, he wouldn't know what to make of airplanes and cars and how people look, and you know, and that's advancement. So you're saying the other thing. You're saying, like, again, the Planet of the Apes. What if we fucked it all up? Nuclear war, you know, whatever. Yeah, so, like, honestly, dude, that's the thing that tickles my fancy more than anything, is talking about real science, like actual science. Pete, stop fucking. Pete's over there humping the blanket, man. This is space.
We lost you for a second again.
That's okay. It happens. It's not the first time I've been told that.
In the movie The Time Machine, he wanted to, I don't know if everybody saw that. He went back in time to try and save his girlfriend, and every time he saved her, she would end up dead anyway. You know,
same thing. Yeah, something would happen.
Of course, in reality, in reality though, you couldn't even do that. That's what I'm saying. Is that he did learn the lesson that he needed to go to the future to find the answer to whatever he needed, and the answer was he had to let it go. But you can't because you remember, like, he remembers she dies. If he goes back in time and stops her from dying, then he never experienced her dying, so he doesn't remember her dying.
Paradoxes
to drive him to build this time machine in the first place. And
exactly,
there's always paradoxes, and people don't get it. You can't. It would never work, even if you could, but you can't because you're going upstream, and it doesn't work.
My second favorite F-14 movie, The Final Countdown.
I don't know if I've seen that one.
Charlie Sheen. And dude, I can't remember the other actors. It's where the aircraft carrier goes through a portal and is literally zapped back to December 7th, 1941. And they have a modern day aircraft carrier with F-14s to go fight the fucking Japanese invasion.
Oh my gosh.
It's called The Final Countdown. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't recall.
This is a movie from the 80s. Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, there's a science fiction movie I missed somehow.
Dude, it's Charlie Sheen stars in it. Like, is it Charlie Sheen or is it? Oh, Jesus Christ, dude! I'm getting confused on my Sheens. I think it's Charlie Sheen. He was one of the stars. Yeah, Kirk Douglas and Martin Sheen. My bad. Kaiju's got it. He's got it. Yeah. Kirk Douglas and Martin Sheen. 1980. Yes, it was literally this movie wrapped around the idea of a portal opens up and a modern day aircraft carrier is like sucked through it and shows up in on December 7th, 1941, where the Pearl Harbor, Japanese invasion. And so they have to decide whether they want to intervene or not. And there's actually a fucking scene, dude, I'm not kidding you, that was legitimately filmed with the F-14 dogfighting with the Japanese Zero. Like, really? Legitimately. Yes. So, I mean, Japanese Zeros were, they were recovered and restored. They still exist to this day. And of course, back then it was 1980 or whatever. Like F-14s were the dominant, air-to-air, carrier protector. And they actually filmed a fucking dogfight between a F-14 and a Japanese Zero.
Did they break the universe?
No.
No?
I mean, a Japanese Zero can totally outturn an F-14, believe it or not.
No, I mean,
Like
well, was there,
F-14 is faster, but any plane like that, even a P-41, could way outrate a fucking F-14 or F-18 or even maybe not F-22 because they have thrust vectoring. But
I mean, was there a
Yeah.
did they cause a paradox in the movie, or
I mean, no, I mean the movie just kind of played out the way it was. They just basically they made a decision like we are the American military, so therefore it's our responsibility to protect the country, no matter what time we're in, right?
Mhm.
And so they launched the fleet to go stop the invasion or the attack, right? And then the fucking thing showed back up and they had to call them all back. And that was the big drama trying to get every single, modern fight.
So
Yeah.
something happened to prevent them from changing history.
Yeah, they never changed history. Yep. And there were two people in the movie from like our time, right? In the storyline. There were two people in a sort of a little side thing that happened where they got caught in the past. And so at the very end, they show up as like very old and they had got caught back. There was only two people that got caught in the past. It was a man and a woman, Yeah, dude, it's a fucking it's a great movie and I love the idea of all of that, but yeah, you can't actually do that, dude. I wish I could go in the past. I'd go buy Apple stock in 1980. Like,
Yeah, seriously.
yeah, $1,000 you'd be worth 25 million. I looked it up.
Yeah.
You'd
Yeah.
be worth 25 fucking $million right now if you bought $1,000 in Apple stock in 1980.
Yeah. Or even something like Bitcoin. I mean, at some point it was 8 cents, and then I sold all mine what I had when it was hit 65,000. But who could imagine something that started out at 8 cents would end up, well, it was lower than that, end up at $65,000.
Yeah,
crazy. But at first, I thought like a lot of people, I was like, this is some bullshit.
Yeah, man. Fuck Pearl Harbor. I want lottery numbers. You know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, I want winning baseball teams and Super Bowls and like total like Back to the Future, kind of like sports almanac kind of shit,
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
Hey, they said it in the Avengers movie. So Back to the Future's bullshit. And that whole scene in the Avengers movie.
I don't remember that scene. I'm not sure what you're talking about. Yeah, I don't remember that.
It's where they're talking about going back in time to get the stones.
Yeah, right.
And there's a scene here where they start talking about different science fiction movies. And at some point, Ant-Man says, "So Back to the Future's bullshit," because they're talking about how time travel works really in the Marvel universe.
Right. Yeah. Which was it's kind of weird because I guess he was talking shit to somebody like like Iron Man or Hulk or somebody, and because he was trying to tell them, hey man, I went back in time.
Well, no, it was before. Well, he was traveled.
He traveled through time. Yeah,
he was trapped. Well, time, like he was trapped in the quantum realm. It was 5 years for everyone else, but it was only I can't remember, like minutes or something for him.
Yeah.
And so technically, I guess that's time travel. You know, but
Well, yeah, just like
but
time
yeah,
dilation. Yeah. Mhm.
but he had a different idea of how time travel worked compared to what Hulk and the other lady was telling him. No, it works like this, and and I'm like, this.
Well,
Time
they
travel is
figured it
all
out, didn't they?
they figured it out. All I know is in science
Yeah.
fiction, every time time travel comes up, I'm like, God damn it! I'm sick of
I
time
love it.
travel. Stupid. I mean, I
I
like
love
it
it.
sometimes, but they overuse it, and it's always. I'm always kind of pulled out of it because in my mind, time travel in the past is a ridiculously fantasy concept.
Yeah, but sometimes fantasy's fun, dude.
Well,
Like,
I like
did
fantasy, but
you remember the I can't remember the name of it. It was Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock, where they were exchanging letters with each other through time, and that did involve time travel to the past. You know, it was a wonderful story. Like it was a great like portal, if you will, to open up for science fiction to. It wasn't a science fiction movie, but it was kind of a love story movie. Great
that's probably why.
movie. Yeah, and then of course like Star Trek, dude. Like what was it? What was it? It was one of the Next Generation movies where they had to like chase the Borg back into time to
Yeah.
keep the Borg from they were trying to ruin humanity basically at that point. So they had to go back and fight that, like again, back in time kind of thing. Somebody said earlier, Superman, went
Spinning the
went
world
back in
backwards.
time to go save Lois Lane,
Well,
right? Yes, the lake house.
He spun.
Kaiju's got it going on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in Superman though, he was spit.
He
felt
spun
like
the world backwards, and somehow that
Yeah.
made it go back in time. I don't understand that.
They weren't really trying to portray dilation there. They were
Well,
doing some
no, I mean, well, that's
bullshit.
the thing. I mean, so the thing about going back in time is this, right? So we're moving through space and time right now as we speak at like unbelievable speeds. Like the Earth is rotating around the sun, and the sun is rotating around a galaxy, and kind of like an up and down pattern, right? So we're literally traveling through our own galaxy right now. To go back in time means you'd have to be wherever the fuck the Earth was then, not here, not now. So you literally have to. That's a portal to another position, not just a time.
Yeah,
and this happens every split second.
Yeah,
and our galaxy is traveling through the universe. So like this position gets like so distant, so like every split second, literally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if there was, so that's another thing that kind of takes me, because when you always stay, is there some kind of function of the universe that makes you stay in the same position relative to the mass of the Earth? Then maybe that might make sense. I don't know, but to me, like if you pop out of time, like you said, everything's moving. If people are popping out of time all the time off the Earth, there's probably a trail of bodies through space forever. It just don't make any. I don't know how that would work. So I don't know if you'd have to.
I mean, to go back in time, you literally have to go back to the position where the galaxy was, the sun was in the galaxy, and the Earth was around the sun. If you wanted to say, hey, I want to go back to 1862.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a fixed position in space that no longer exists with the planet. Like not even close. Even even just that short, relatively short amount of time, we've gone trillions of miles past that.
Yeah.
And into a different fixed position in the universe. As far as like time dilation goes and saying, hey, I want to go here and travel at the speed of light and do the future thing, you can use math to calculate where the Earth will be to get back to. Just like you can calculate how to get to the cheese-filled moon, Like Newton's laws of gravity are pretty solid on that. Just even Newton's laws of gravity. That math works out. So it's not hard for us to mathematically calculate the movement of heavenly bodies, even our own,
Yeah.
Anyway, that's just fascinating shit to me. Like,
Oh yeah.
I kind of felt compelled to, talk to somebody about it.
So if they find a way to send you 500 years in the future, you're going?
Never say never. Maybe.
Maybe.
I mean, what am I, Matthew McConaughey, man? Come on. What the
I
fuck,
don't know.
dude? I mean, yeah,
Maybe.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I watched a fascinating podcast last night. Because I went to bed early and then I woke up like early morning anyway. And so I need something to do to keep myself occupied. And it was Lex Freeman talking to like somebody that knew what the fuck they were talking about with all this shit. And they're talking about like crazy cool shit about like telescoping off the sun and shit, like using the gravitational lens of the sun, which is a real thing. Again, that's how E equals MC squared was proven. And like looking like you could hyper focus into space, like with that telescope that uses the gravitational lens of the sun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but you would have to put it so far away, like really, really, really far away. Not like in Earth orbit or anything. It was fascinating shit, dude. I don't know. I'll send you a link, man. You'll dig it. I think you'll fucking dig it.
I see I watch Lex Friedman every so often when he's got something interesting on there.
Well, this one was interesting, dude. And honestly, I don't know how old it was. I don't know if it was like a brand new one or it was something from 2 years ago, because I think it just auto-played, So I don't know.
Yeah.
But I sat there and listened to the whole thing, man. I was like, God damn, this is fascinating shit. Unlike Bigfoot, which really isn't all that fascinating.
You have a whole channel based on Bigfoot.
I do. I mean, I have a channel called Squatch Talk that's based on the Bigfoot subject. But honestly, dude, I mean, I could sit here and talk to you about space and time and the possibility of aliens. Like, I could sit here and have this conversation is way more interesting to me than, it's Bigfoot in Australia. You say yeah, I say no.
You might be.
And that conversation is just really not going to go anywhere,
Well, is the aliens going to go anywhere? That, for that matter, I mean,
or aliens. Yeah, because I don't believe in aliens. Like they have no, like how the fuck they get here? How did they figure out like something different from the laws of physics, which are pretty solid, but like I don't think there's one fucking alien that's ever been around this planet. I don't think there's ever one fucking extraordinary aircraft that's ever visited this planet from another world. There's no proof of it. Zero proof. So like it just all becomes the same convoluted narrative, You know.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, I question what their motivation is, because you have like, what was it, Sitchin, who said they came here to enslave humans to mine gold. Well, that don't make any damn sense to me. You could go find a planetary core fragment that's loaded with gold flying through space and just get that. Why would you? Gold is rare on the surface of a planet. Why would you go and spend time enslaving? Like all these reasons, people that they think they come here to breed with us and crazy stuff like that.
Yeah, and stick things up our butt.
Yeah.
Butt talk.
Like, no, I think probably if you're a species that can travel to other planets easily enough that you start doing it, we're probably not as interesting as we think we are.
Probably not, but even if we are interesting, then you're probably just gonna observe. But then again, see, the problem is that you start projecting our thoughts onto theirs.
Yeah.
And I think that's irresponsible. They might want to stick stuff up our butt.
They might.
You just don't know. People do that. People stick things up other people's butts, man. All right. So,
I just don't know. They might, but some sci-fi might have good idea. Like, Star Trek, for all its flaws, might be correct about the prime directive idea. That might be a normal law out in the universe.
Yeah. I don't think that would be a bad law to like follow. Let's say, if we start exploring the universe in some like capable way that is a little different, might not be a bad law.
Mr. Lee wants to know if you think we are the only intelligent beings in the universe.
I have no idea.
Yeah, we can't know for sure.
Yeah, the thing about that is, the universe is huge. And again, back to this podcast that I watched, like all this shit was discussed, and it was very, very intelligent, very articulate, and fascinating. Is that there might, the universe is big. There might be other conditions that were similar to what happened on Earth. There almost should be, and amino acids. And maybe even bacteria, and maybe even, small ocean type, like waterborne sort of not animals, but like wherever the fuck.
Like a tardigrade.
Yeah, like arthropods or whatever. But that doesn't mean that intelligent life ever developed on that planet. And they went for 1 billion years or 5 billion years until their son went dead, and it was just nothing more than like basic arthropods with no intelligence whatsoever, just instinct to eat or breed. Yeah, it's a fascinating thought, because we're either alone, which is incredible and fascinating, or we're not alone, which is equally incredible and fascinating.
Yeah.
Both possibilities are equally mind-blowing,
I find it hard to believe that we are completely, because universe is incredibly vast as far as we know, as far as we can observe. We can't observe very far, really.
Dude, there's billions of stars in our own galaxy.
Yeah.
And we can look at billions of galaxies. So, yeah, you kind of start doing the math on that, right?
And even if we were the first place in the universe that life came from, one asteroid impact spread our little microbes all over the place. So they could go colonize, panspermia, colonize other planets, So DNA doesn't have to develop in every planet. It could start at one place and got spread everywhere else.
Possibly, or carried there. Again, like you can kind of let your imagination,
Yeah.
take over and again project. And that's fine. Like there's nothing wrong with that, because when we ponder the vastness of the universe and how big it is, it's like we don't know until we know. So I guess it's okay to, let the imagination run wild a little bit, but the scientists, the people that truly want to know, they don't really do that. Like they'll keep themselves in check,
Maybe.
and
Maybe. I mean, they make some assumptions. Like, I mean, they haven't actually proven the Big Bang Theory. They haven't
Correct.
actually proven that.
correct.
And
But they build badass telescopes to show us cool fucking looking nebulas and shit. Like,
they do a lot of good
I
stuff.
mean, they don't have a bad track record, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I usually like to say, they make lots of good observations, but sometimes their interpretations are off of that data.
Sometimes, sometimes not, man. I mean, we do build. We built a huge gravitational wave detector, and it turned out like we picked something up. From a neutron star, whatever, 20 million years away or light years away or whatever. Like that shit's real, man. Like it's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
These are smart people. These aren't delusional people, If you go talk to an astrophysicist who's like not on TV all the time, like they're not delusional. Like they're they're highly intelligent. They know what the fuck they're talking about.
No Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yeah, I mean TV personality.
Yeah, he got a lot of heat here recently because of something he said.
Yeah, I believe it, dude. It's just, I mean, yeah. I mean, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you're talking about something specific.
Yeah,
And he's he's a fucking idiot for saying that.
Yeah, he should have just stayed out of it. Stay in your lane.
It was all people who fucking like looked at him weirdly and challenged him on that. Of all people, was fucking Steve-O. Like Steve-O was like, huh? What are you talking about? Like, why are you going like on his podcast? Like all people, Steve-O, like goofy ass fucking Steve-O, eat a goldfish, throw it back into the tank, like that fucking dude, or whatever. Dude, that shit tripped me out. I know what you're talking. We don't have to talk about it here because I don't. Yeah, I don't want to get your channel into trouble.
Well, I mention that stuff all the time, so I just try to talk in code because YouTube,
Yeah. No, I know, and obviously I picked right up on it.
But it's just funny,
But yeah, fuck that guy.
Yeah, and I think he's, I think, because you've probably heard me say a lot of times on here that I think that some of the science, they're off on their interpretation of things. So, and he's 100% on board of it. And like you said, these guys aren't stupid. I think that they're purposely misleading us about certain things. Some of them.
That happens. I mean, you're getting into a way different, like, complicated conversation.
Yeah, I know.
I don't think there's a lot of guys looking out into the universe that only fucking care about what are we finding in the universe that we can understand.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of those guys that are going to be misleading about anything. I don't know. Maybe if they discover the Death Star coming towards us, maybe they would fucking say, like, no, we don't want to disclose. Like, I get that, but no, man, there are people that truly just want to understand the world, just like you do, just like I do. Like you and I perform science, at least in the same idea of science is like, I'm just trying to understand this world. you know. And there's these other people that are high academics, and they have tools and technology at their disclosure. They get to launch spacecraft in the air to fucking help them study the understanding of the world they live in. Like, no, man, all those people are like pretty genuine, good people.
And I think a lot of them, they just
talk
get
to them. Yeah.
They get sucked into a situation where the funding's coming from a certain place, so they got to be careful what they say. Certain results are expected, you know. I
mean, it just, I mean, when you put a telescope into space and you're just observing.
We lost Pat again. Yep, government shut us down. Government shut us down. Can't remember that. Oh, there he is. He's come back. There he is.
Yeah, same thing. Yeah, I was just saying, like, I mean, you know, results. I don't know. I think it's an objective process. I mean, you know, science has science recognizes that dark matter is something that's not understood. So, I mean, there you go. Like, there's nobody like squashing the dark narrative matter. No, we can't have it that, you know, there's this thing out in the universe that we don't understand, you know? No, there is. It's called dark matter. We fucking have no clue what it is.
Well,
none.
Yeah, but I mean,
nobody's challenging that narrative. There's no authority behind it. It's truth. It's just science.
Yeah, their data is telling them something's there, but they're focused on it has to be some kind of matter or the dark energy or, you know, all these things that they're all negating. Like, so like they're negating that there's a substrate behind everything, but then we lost. Did we lose him again? We lost him again. Just go talk to an astrophysicist, Mr. Lee says. Raptor's lawyer's calling. Is he? The grass is pissed. The grass is pissed. Oh, there he is. There he is.
Yeah, this it's so fucking annoying. I don't know why this happens.
So I don't know. I mean, I'm pretty sure you probably heard me talk about Ken Wheeler before on here, and he offers an alternative understanding of some of these areas of science, and it goes back that there has to be there's a substrate behind the universe but mainstream science, they keep finding data that shows this, but they don't ever want to go back to the idea that the ether exists, the basic medium of all reality. And so they'll come up with stuff like quantum foam, space-time, you know, all these different things, when all that really does is point to the existence of the ether. So, you know, I don't know.
Again, man, I think, you know, look, the people that just want to understand the world better, I find them to be fairly objective. So, you're talking about sort of outlying theories or ideas, for whatever reason that they would reject because that's not their observation, you know. So to be fair, you know, they do observe that dark matter is a thing, but they have no fucking idea what it is, you know. And they're willing to admit that, and that's public information. So nobody's really got their foot on any throat of understanding about the world, kind of in the way that, flat earthers would say, is the case, right? I don't find that to be the case.
What what Ken Wheeler would tell them is that what they're seeing is the effects of massive fields, like magnetic fields, gravitational fields. That's what they're seeing, and they're not accounting for that as an added apparent gravitational force, but they're not recognizing that there's a massive field in place in that they're observing.
Yeah, I don't know, man. That's all that shit's above my pay grade. You know what I mean? Like, so, I mean, I could opine on that kind of thinking. I'm not sure what magnetism has to do with gravity.
Well, it's the same thing.
I don't think it is.
It's a gravity would be a situation where all of your magnetic fields are in different orientations in a mass, and magnetism is where they're lined up. What most people perceive as magnetism, where it's lined up, where you have a clear north and south pole, 100%. But
yeah, sure. But we can look at the Earth's magnetic field. We can actually,
we measure.
When it's all squiggly lined around it and everything, like the sun. You could see like how magnetism works with the sun. From solar flares and shit. That's literally the shaping of the magnetic field of the sun. Outlined, yeah. But yeah, I mean, gravity to me is, sure, you have the attraction, so magnets attract, but they also repel. So
yeah,
in that theory, repel me off the Earth. How does that happen? Like, I don't know.
Well, and the substances,
I die.
Like,
I die.
Yeah.
That's it.
You would die. Death. Yeah, and substances that are normally considered not magnetic, but magnetic fields still affect them. And it's interesting where certain things they'll go to certain points in the magnetic field, and it's just some really crazy effects that most people aren't really aware of and or consider. But
sure, but
basically the theory goes that magnetism or gravity is incoherent magnetism.
Well, I mean, like gravity, while not entirely understood, is understood enough to predict 100%, and to is understood to be is literally a warp. It's a warp in space and time.
Well, that's what they see. That's the interpretation they've come up for what they're observing. But again, space is supposed to be nothing, and time is just a measurement. It's just a measurement. So how they put these two things together and come up with the fabric of space-time instead of recognizing that there's something else.
But okay, so man, you're getting in deep shit.
I know.
Like, so space-time is not just a measurement. Space-time is the fourth dimension. Like, so time is the fourth dimension.
No, I mean, yeah, we could look at time as a fourth dimension, but
yeah,
still, it's not really a thing.
But it is, because of what we talked about earlier with time dilation. It's definitely a thing. So we're all experiencing time right now, like together, right? Even you, Lock, like wherever the fuck you are right now. I'm in North Georgia. You're wherever the fuck you are. And
Southeast Oklahoma,
Antarctica. Lockbeard's definitely in Antarctica.
Time is passing,
and time passes exactly the same for both of us. We can't measure any difference of how time passes.
Yeah.
So we're experiencing the fourth dimension all together, all 8 billion of us on this fucking sphere, you know, going, right? But you just send one fucking person off, you know, just one person off at the speed of light. And now we have a human being from planet Earth experiencing time completely differently. And they are truly swimming in an actual fourth dimension scenario, approaching like fifth dimension, kind of like theoretical fifth dimension kind of situation. And then it goes on and on from there with the theories of different dimensions of how time works and how you can experience time. So yeah, I mean that again, it's above my pay grade, but I know enough about it to be able to like confidently discuss it, you know. You can experience time differently. So with gravity, again, I'll concede we don't actually fully understand gravity, but we can predict it 100%. Like those mathematical, our mathematical understanding of gravity is never wrong, or it's never been proven wrong. Again, in the 1960s, we went to the moon using Newton's laws of gravity.
Yeah.
So
we
just
were
the
able.
math.
I mean, we observed.
Yeah.
We just observed the behavior of it. We don't have to know what it is, but we observe the behavior of it, and we have to use it every day just to stay on the surface of the planet. You know, it's just kind of a part of life, but doesn't mean we know what it is, or at least the mainstream doesn't. But I'm convinced.
Go jump off a building, you'll find out real quick.
Yeah,
right?
I mean,
it's it definitely works. It's predictable.
Definitely works. Well, yeah, and so I don't know, but you know,
I didn't mean to mess up your show, Locke. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
I wanted to talk about science, dude. Like, I'm feeling some kind of way tonight. I'm like, fuck Bigfoot.
Fuck
like
Bigfoot.
Locke's talking about science, dude. Hey, let's talk science. You know?
What if Bigfoot's a better scientist than we are?
Yeah, I mean, what if, right? I mean, that opens up a lot of doors. Again, like, you know, high speculation. Like, what if they understand how the universe works better than us? Well, then that meets the definition of woo. Does it not?
Well, it wouldn't be magical woo kind of stuff.
I think so. I mean, like,
it would just mean they're really smart.
It depends on what you're talking about. Yeah. It depends on specifics of what you're talking about. You know.
I guess if you look at it like any sufficiently advanced science, it would appear magical to less advanced people. But
yeah, but in what way could they be more advanced? Would be something beyond our understanding. So to me, that automatically puts it in the woo category. I mean, if somebody wants to tell me that they're just as good as hiding themselves as like the best of humanity, being like, say, Navy SEALs or whatever, right? Like people who are highly trained in hiding because they have a specific reason to do that. You know, you want to put them on that level. Well, they're still just as natural as us. The second it goes beyond that, it goes into something I can't explain. Like, you know, and fucking, you talking about octopus are fucking weird. They're weird creatures, man. And they're like amazing at camouflage and you know, an octopus this big can go through a hole that fucking big. Like, dude, they're amazing, capable creatures, but you could pick one out of the ocean and fucking whatever, dude. Like stab it in the head. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they're not.
Well, I've eaten a number of octopus.
They're not magical. I've eaten squid. So as magical as they appear,
I've eaten a lot of
they
octopus.
aren't. I mean, with Bigfoot, dude, it's just simple. It's like, how many are there, and where, and you know, and how do we observe them or get evidence of them, you know? And that is a very circular discussion. It just, you know, it just depends on how you answer those questions, you know. And if one wants to say, if they just want to go there and say, I think they're fucking magical beings from planet Hairtron, and they're in cohorts with the flying spaghetti monster, which you and me, Locke, both know fucking exists, you know, then okay, then you got me. Like, I can't, like, there's no logic dictation road I can go down with that, you know. It's like, if they're from planet Hairtron and they're in cohorts with the flying spaghetti monster, then I don't know what to do with that, you know what I mean? There's no road for me to march. But
everybody say ramen.
Yeah. But are they flesh and blood? You know, are they flesh and blood creatures of this earth? And how many of them are they? Like, that's the beginning point of any discussion with Bigfoot. There's no doubt that the narrative is just fucking false, dude. Like, the narrative is out of control bad. You know that. Like, I know you know that.
Yeah.
You know, Bigfoot's everywhere all the time. You know,
all I can do is say what I think is the possibilities. But as far as I know, I don't know for a fact there's one Bigfoot in existence. Or that they ever existed, really. Because we don't got
me neither.
We don't got that body. So we're kind of screwed on that deal.
I think that's a responsible way. I think that's a responsible statement. But you understand, dude, that when you make that statement, you're like me. You're killing the music at the party.
I know it.
You're just killing the music at the party, man. You know?
Yeah.
And
it sucked. I mean, I think it'd be really cool if they're out there, but you know, and I think there is the possibility that they're out there. But I don't have any real data.
Well, you know, no shit. Nobody does. Like, I look at, again, like I brought this up on my show the other night. I said, I don't know, man. Like, the PG film is very compelling to me personally. Okay. And I've looked at it objectively, and I don't see a guy in a suit. Like, I see some fucking weird thing, man. Right. I'm like, I don't know. She's probably dead. Maybe they all died out. Like, maybe she was the last of fucking 50, you know, in the whole world. But I don't know that. But I'm throwing that out there as a possibility. But you and I both know the Bigfoot world will never consider that possibility because it takes all the fun out of it. Because why go on your fucking LBL expedition next weekend?
Yeah.
If you've come to the conclusion that, well, they might all just be dead, and Roger fucking Patterson happened to catch one of the last 100 of them or whatever, you know? So what's the fun of going on a Bigfoot expedition if you're considering they're all dead? Because how you know, what do you do with the whoops you get that night? You have to admit they're barred owls instead of fucking saying it's Bigfoot. That's how fucking stupid
Yeah.
this is all gotten. You know, like nobody's willing to
Yeah.
like have an honest discussion with the subject anymore, except people like you and others. Very few, just very few people. You know, it's always the people that don't like have a lot of money invested. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know.
Raptor always brings that up. They're just trying to make money.
Hmm. And I've had his ass on that lately. Because I'm tired of people banning Raptor in chat for being honest and saying what, oh, that's a great story. Where's your fucking evidence?
Yeah.
And he always like yeah, that's kind of a good point, actually. But again, dude, it's like bam, hit the ban button because you're killing the music at the party, Raptor. Everybody thinks the guy's being an asshole. He's just making a good point. And
Yeah.
I've noticed that long ago.
What's Donald talk about here? The good chance that Gimlin's manager has the truth.
Or doesn't. I mean,
Yeah.
Gimlin
Yeah.
has the truth. Gimlin has the truth. Fuck his manager. But I mean, I know what Donald's saying in that.
Grasshopper, Bigfoot ghost.
And I just that's not that's just not a road I want to march down in public right now, honestly. I have my thoughts about it, but look, I mean, I made the prediction I made. I went out into public on my own channel and made the prediction that I made, but I don't want to opine on it any further because it's complicated. I think it's way more complicated than that. I think it's a money issue. That's it. It's all about money. It ain't about truth. That's what I'll say.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no. It's a good possibility something might happen, but it ain't about truth. But whatever. I mean, I'm sick of that fucking film anyway. You know.
Yeah. I mean, people keep analyzing it, but I really don't think we're getting anything else out of it. I think we just need to look at it and as it is, original, and try not to make any more extrapolation or enhancements, and but everybody's wanting to do that and keep trying to. They think they're going to get something more out of it, and I just don't think they can.
I agree for the most part. I say that, but like recently, Lazy Cowboy did a pretty impressive 3D animation rendering. Based on the film, so it felt legit. It felt, objective, and it was impressive. But even then, it's like that video probably might have 500 views. It's like, it's not some game changing thing, but it was impressive to me. I did enjoy it. I liked seeing it. Goddamn. Where are we at?
Just clicking on going down the list. People. Grasshopper said no deathbed confession. Donald pointed out there was a video confession of 2 people are aware of.
I don't know. Oh, well, no, he's talking about the whole. I think Donald is talking about what happened back a couple of years ago with Steve Coles and Richter Riola, and Russell Accord, making them think that, but never actually saying it directly, but somehow made them think that. Yeah. To the point where Steve made a fucking fool of himself, basically. Yeah, that's what Richter's talking about. So Russell Accord was like fucking with Steve's head and Richter's head and made them think that. Again, I don't know if it was directly or indirectly, because they both fucking retracted it, dude, is the thing. Even Richter, who doesn't have anything to do with the Bigfoot world anymore, even Richter said, "I am, whatever. I guess maybe I was wrong about that." But Coles got down on his knees and made this big apology, and then disappeared off fucking YouTube for fucking 2 or 3 months. I'm like, what the fuck he say to you? What did he say to you? Because Coles was like, he was really like, he thought he was onto some scoop, man. Yeah. It was kind of funny. But I've come to know, like Coles is just like, to me, and dude, Steve Coles is just, he comes across as the big debunker, but he's just as wrapped up in the narrative as pretty much everyone else, So yeah, he might pick one guy that's low hanging fruit and go, this guy's hoaxing because look, if you look at this and you look at that and you look at this, he's hoaxing. Okay, that's great. What about the narrative, bro, that you participate in every fucking day? Every time you go on air. Nope. Nobody's willing to fucking attack the narrative. And that's where I'm at, dude. Like that's what's bothering me about the supreme contradictions with the narrative. So Coles is just as guilty of that as anybody. Hey, what's up? Hey, what's up, Lock?
There's Petey.
Yeah, I'm Pete. What's up? Hey, everybody out there in podcast world. I'm gonna. Well, you know my speech, right, about biting Bigfoot. Everybody knows I'm gonna bite Bigfoot and get DNA sample for Dobby Orcutt, right? So, yeah, man. Why don't I don't understand why you people don't bite Bigfoot? Like, why don't you do that?
Because he might bite back.
But I'm a doggy and I bite Bigfoot, I run off, say, fuck you, Bigfoot. Also, don't understand why you don't 12 gauge that motherfucker to the face, because it would totally drop him.
It would totally drop him.
It totally would.
Well, man, I need to get off here. Thanks for hanging out.
Yeah, man. Hey, well, thanks for having me on again. And
oh, anytime.
And yeah, dude. Again, like I wasn't kidding. I'm like, holy shit, I got a chance to like talk to somebody about science and shit. Like, that's so much more interesting than fucking Bigfoot.
Yeah.
And how like most things in Bigfoot are absolute bullshit, but we have this thing called science, which like some kind of understanding of things that most people don't even understand. It's like time dilation, like we were talking gravity, and just all like the mystery, some of the mysteries and shit, like shit worth figuring out. Like, fuck these Bigfoot thing, man. Just let them walk around and whoop all they want. Fuck them. Just ignore them. Ignore Bigfoot. So that's all I have to say, Locke. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it, man. I'm going to leave your studio, let you wrap it up.
All right. Take it
See
easy.
you, bro.
Bye. See y'all later. Thanks for hanging out.